we gang are going to be debating as a community what the best Mega Man and Star Force games are. We're gonna hash it out. You can object. You know what I mean? This is definitely, it's a fun discussion. But at the end of this, we're gonna come up with objectively the best tier list ever, regarding the Mega Man and Star Force games. Does anyone have any questions before we start?
Okay,
I do. Fun, but I think we're gonna make some enemies here.
Yeah, well, this is about to be a bloodbath. All right, so does this encompass PvE and PvP? Are these supposed to weigh in on the decision?
I will let you can give any reason you want. You can give absolutely any reason at all for your arguments. I don't know how we're going to decide it ultimately. I don't know if it'll be like consensus or average it out or whatever. I have no idea, but we're going
to...
I say we argue our points, and then at the end we tally a vote. There's actually 7 of us, which is perfect. Majority wins.
Okay. I mean, we can certainly do polls as well. Yeah, the polls can definitely help with that a lot.
True.
Let's start easy. Let's throw ourselves a little curveball here. Battle Network 1. Not only starting easy, started at the start of the series. What do people think about Battle Network 1? Be very honest.
Man.
I think you have to consider it as a product of its time.
Okay.
And it's solid. I say it's solid B or A.
B or A?
B or A?
That's high, even considering what it is. That's high.
Honestly,
it's the first one of the series. There's a lot that they didn't work out
for
yet.
like actual quality, but like if you want impact, I guess we could bump it up to B. Importance.
Oh man, see, I do think that matters, but like I think at the end of the day too, you gotta like kind of. I feel like you kind of have to associate a little bit. I mean, it's tough. Obviously, the first game of any series is going to be on the rougher side.
Well, let's put it this way, right?
Great.
This was a launch title for the Game Boy Advance. This sold Game Boy Advances. This game alone sold Game Boy Advances in the first place, right?
And it's like, for me, this was the first one I played, so I don't have the experience of the other ones that were better, and then coming back to one, it's like, oh,
right.
Good.
I feel like that's I won't lie and say that's not definitely coloring how I saw this game.
Well, feel free to add color. Feel free to add color. How are you guys feeling?
It has the best animations of all the games, honestly, because they didn't have content, right? So they replaced
wow.
It was launched.
Wow.
Yes, it made the baseline work, but it wasn't polished. That puts it about C. And
I give it C. I'll give you C, bro.
I like C. I could also see B. I could see B just for the
I could see
impact.
B as well.
I like that argument about the animations. That's true. There are, and I every time I see Mega Man blink, I freak out. I'm like, wow, I forgot that was a thing. I forgot like when he gets deleted, you get like the sort of like explosion of circles like the old games. I think that's kind of fun. There are some cool things. That being said, having played this game relatively recently, this was actually the main game we played for our fundraiser for the arcade experience. This game can be brutal. I pity anyone who tries to 100% this. It is obscure and ridiculous, and there's and heaven forbid navigating that internet is like just
Yo,
horrendous.
I love 20 Rooms of Orange. Can't get enough of it.
Can't get enough.
It was my only game for like a year, so I memorized that map.
Amazing. Tofu, I love that you loved it too. I think that says a lot about the game, that like even as rough as it was back in the day, like it was still like it did like, think about it, if it were worse it would have killed the series, right? Like there would not have been sequels. So I think like it was good enough for being a launch title. I could actually see B. I was thinking C. I could actually see B. I don't know what are you guys thinking?
I can see B.
I understand the arguments for C, but I would personally put it at, I guess, B.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think it deserves it. I think it deserves the B. It's special. It's important.
Yeah, it is important.
I don't care about importance. I care about quality. C, mid tier.
Okay. I like it. That's spicy. Anyone else have any like strong C tier pushes?
D.
D for Mega Rock. Tell us more, Mega Rock. Tell us more.
We're ranking the games.
We are ranking the games.
We're ranking the games.
Yeah, ranking the games determines quality. Like all games are important because if one of them failed or flopped, rip your series, right?
I think the thing with putting it down in like D or something is like I can think of like a handful of games I would put lower than it, and I don't know if they'd necessarily be F. Like I could see it being like C.
So you know what? You know what? You know what?
Games lower than it.
I can see us kind of. I can see there being like a bit of a discussion here. Why don't we table it for now? Let's start with some obvious ones, in my opinion.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take a real hardcore line agenda here. How about Mega Man Star Force 2?
Oh,
Put that right in F. Put that right in F. You can put that right in F.
I
can put that.
However, the post game nearly redeemed the whole game. Very interesting, excellent concept, fantastic post game. However, it's marred by random encounters, derp scenarios, and
Derp scenarios.
yeah, that's it. It's derp scenarios, and yeah,
Derp scenarios, dude.
The
yeah, those are two
post
main
game.
problems again.
The post game is cool. I think redeeming the whole game is a stretch.
It's a stretch.
I
I have
said
to agree.
almost. I said
Almost.
almost.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Who's
I
got
would
strong? Who else has opinions here? Is anyone really hot?
Me.
enough?
It's my least favorite one of all of them.
I liked
could
it.
see
It fixed Star Force.
I could
Wait,
see
hold on. Was
D,
that-
I could
is
see
that-
low C.
Wait, is that MegaRock? Who was that?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it, MegaRock.
I'd say B. It fixed Star Force. I liked it.
That's crazy.
That's high as hell.
It did have some quality for the game. So from Star Force 1 or 2, I grant you that.
Wow.
I tell you what, from my tier list, I'm among game quality. So if BN1's a C, I'll go B for Star Force 2.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Because
I'm like,
it is better than BN1. I'm just being real with you.
All right, that's fair.
I
It's better
don't
than
know. I
Nah,
don't
I
know.
disagree with
I
that.
hate this game.
I'm
gonna tell you right now.
nothing about this game.
I could
I've
play
never played
BN1
one
over
I
and
felt
over.
just-
I can't do two. I beat it once and never again.
The quality
Star Force 2, I don't go back to.
the
John,
mechanics
what
are
were you
not
saying?
great.
I cut you off, John. What were you saying?
Well, I was just saying, like, it's the only game. It's the reason people are mad I haven't made the Star Force 2 video, because I just have nothing to say about it. It is the most 5 out of 10
Unremarkable.
game in existence. It's just kind of annoying sometimes. The only parts I remember are the parts that pissed me off, and I don't remember anything else.
So
Yeah,
here's
that's
my
fair.
rant. I'm gonna give my rant, okay? Because I feel very passionate about Star Force 2 sucking. Okay, again, I'm a pretty positive guy. Let me just give you my rant, okay? The story, I know it's a shonen, okay? I know these are shonen little kid games. I know, right? The idea of like BN5 and like the Soul Net, like that's ridiculous, whatever. The idea, I think, like the oop arts are dumb. I think abominable. I think that's dumb. I think it has nothing to do with the Zodiac and the cool Star Force, like star astrology. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. Story-wise, it's like you cut out Vista Point, you cut out the school, you cut out all the cool, memorable moments about Star Force 1 that were related to Geo, just like totally scrapped it so that we can go to What's Up and we can like hang out on the Skynet and fight a million things for a million years.
Oh
It's
my
like,
gosh.
the encounter rate is atrocious. I will say, Tribe King is cool. I think there is an interesting mechanic there with like fusing and stuff like that. That is interesting. But overall, man, I just like, that is just like Tofu. I have I'm not looking forward to replaying it. Like just about every other game, I'm hyped for it, but like, oh my God.
I'll say two things. I'll say two things.
Let's hear it.
The two things I like about this game, and it had to be taught to me by Salad.
Okay.
The PvP in this game is actually kind of cool.
Okay.
The PvP in Star Force 2 is actually really fun to play.
Okay.
And it introduced Solo. And I think Solo, he was super over the top edgy in this game, if I remember correctly. And he kind of cooled off and was more, he hit his better stride in 3. But in the second one, he was a little too over the top, but I still loved him. He was still about that business and I loved him. And that was the only two things I cared about for this game. I'm not going to hold you.
I'd like to piggyback off that. Demi, you did bring up some excellent points. I forgot about that. I also just remember the Skywave. And
man.
I'm bumping this back down to a D. I can negotiate. I can negotiate to a C, but no higher. I am at a D right now.
Okay.
And before you argue with me, do you remember the
forgot the
gates
banger
that
boss
you could
music.
not open unless you had real Wright brothers?
Oh,
True,
yeah,
some
I
lock
forgot about
content.
that. I was lucky to have friends that played.
Forte Ultimus, he had a fun comment in the chat right now too. We forgot about the banger boss music.
Yeah, like, come on.
There is some banger boss music.
I'm not giving a
poor
Mega Man game
MegaRock.
points for good music.
Poor
That's your thing. That's your
poor
thing.
MegaRock's like just latching, like, yeah, of course, you guys, B. I want to throw it an F. I mean, I guess I could be persuaded to D, but I don't know what's worse than it. I think
Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote.
Well, I have one more thing I want to.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
It might change the way you see the game a little bit, and it changed the way I did it. And I don't know how many of you here have actually played through Legend of Network yet, and that is that playing through Legend of Network makes Star Force 2 worse retroactively.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because Legend of Network has Star Force 2's plot, almost literally the exact same story, but just a million times better.
Yes.
Oh right, the Ooparts, right? Like they did the
ancient civilization that sunk underwater a long time ago. There's Ooparts. You've got the kid from the past who's like hanging out with the characters. You've got they're trying to resurrect their ancient civilization. It's the same thing.
I think it's amazing that a freaking cell phone game did that better than like a Nintendo DS. Like that's great.
All right, should we go down the line?
I like it. I'm gonna start F.
Okay.
I could go F, but the post game was very interesting concept, and honestly, it added a lot to the game. I said almost redeems it. So that's why I go up to D.
Okay.
I'll go next.
Sure.
Let's hear it, Soul. What do you think?
I'm gonna go D.
Okay. Who's next? Just shout it out.
Then Tofu goes D.
D.
Cosmo goes D.
That's D. Is a D. That's a D. That's a D.
MegaRock, you don't have to say it if you don't want
I'm
to.
sorry.
B.
I love MegaRock.
Is there someone else I'm missing? I think someone else, maybe John or someone.
No, I said D. Yeah.
Okay. So I have F D D D D D B. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I think we can agree that's a D. I think the F and the B probably cancel out a little bit, and I think the general consensus is D. So I think that's it. Now this tier list has.
Let's compromise and say C.
That's funny. That's funny. This tier list unfortunately has all the versions for better or for worse. I feel like the version differences probably don't matter enough, unless you guys have a strong push. I
Not
feel like
in this one.
Not for Star Force 2.
Yeah. In fact, whoever
the
made this tier list just
Put the copy in C.
put the
Ninjas versus dinosaurs.
Twice.
Stupid crap.
whoever made this tier list didn't even bother to put Saurian. They just did 2 Zerkers. So I think that says a lot about the love for Star Force. Okay. Wow. I don't know where to go from there. I mean, again, I have my own agendas. I guess I can lead the agendas just because I'm the streamer here. How about BN4?
F.
Oh man. Oh man. Here we go.
I have so many unkind words for this game.
I'll start. I know we all want to say F as a meme,
Okay.
but look. It like Star Force 2, it hurt a lot of characters and story setup. If you're coming from 3, you want to figure out how Mega Man came back alive. The 4 doesn't answer that problem for you. What 4 does do is make a good step forward for mechanics and things like and behind the back end they coded the game a little bit better. Using actual I think data lists and I don't know what the term is. I forget. I'm on stream, but it was a step forward from a technical standpoint and mechanics standpoint. So it can't be an F. Just can't. I could go to a C high or a D.
Okay. Okay.
I love that.
Who's next? Who's got an agenda?
I think MegaRock says something.
Oh.
Wait.
I said C, but yeah,
Okay.
I agree with those points. Like, it introduced full synchro countering. Like, that's a series staple even up until Star Force. Like, that's significant. It really changed up the way battles played compared to 3. The best it were both version connections in the Battle Network games, so it was so cool that you could do the tournaments of the opposite version.
That is cool.
And fight the baddies of the opposite version. Like, you could never do that again afterward.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, preach.
I don't want to derail this too much, but I love seeing the chat right now. It is so polarizing. It's hysterical. Like, it's actually great.
Best-selling game.
It is objectively the best-selling Mega Man game or Battle Network anyway, which is crazy. All right, Tofu, what's your thought?
I can't disagree that it introduced mechanics that are staples now, so I didn't consider that, so I'll change from F to D, but I think the requiring 3 playthroughs, and then if you're a kid
Oh my lord.
and you don't know that you're gonna have to play through this 3 times, and you're like, oh, let me use these dark chips. By the time you get to that 3rd playthrough, you can't do anything. Those viruses and the frequency that they show up, unless you've been building a great folder this whole time, you're kind of screwed.
And if you miss a blue mystery data, you have to do 3 playthroughs to get the mystery data.
Yes.
Don't even remind me.
Yes.
John, what's your take? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Topher. Continue.
If you consider it as a singular playthrough, I think it's an alright game, but since it's required 3, and if you don't have the prerequisite knowledge of that, just bad design.
John, what's your take here?
I'd say you pretty much said exactly what I was going to say, because I've dabbled in making that. I've said I'd rank all these eventually for a video, and the only way I could rank Star Force 4 Battle Network 4 properly is you have to look at it as 2 separate games. You have to look at it as a single playthrough with like the music and the visuals and all the stuff that it brought in that improved the series. And then you have to look at all of Battle Network 4, which significantly, there's just nothing acceptable about the way that this game is structured with the multiple playthroughs. So I'd give it a C for 1 playthrough, but I'd have to knock it down to D if you want to actually complete the game. Not even the post game, just like doing all 3 runs. I'd have to knock it down to D.
That's a good take. Rockman, do you have a take?
Well, I guess everyone kind of said what I was gonna say. Really good points on the mechanics. It's true. Like I was originally gonna be like, yeah, F, but I realized like, no, it did add that in there. But yeah, as John said, it's like, yeah, if you take the whole thing, like the whole game, and then just try 100% it, yeah, it's bad. And also, I don't like the music. I don't know if that's a common opinion. But
Whoa.
I don't know. I think the music's kind of mid.
I mean, the only look, the only 2 tracks are "Save Our Planet" and the tournament thing. Everyone else forgets the other ones because they suck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
boss
and
theme?
like
What?
the Undernet theme. I mean, that. I mean, whatever that song that played in like the toy comp. Hate that song.
Oh, that's good. Oh no, here we go.
I love it. I love it.
So D tier for me because I know there's stuff that's worse than this. I'm not gonna put it in F.
So I have a similar take to you guys, but it's a little bit different. It's like, it's funny, the more space that I give BN4, I get almost nostalgic, where I'm like, oh man, like BN4, you know, it has the battle chip gate, like what a cool innovation, you know, in Japan, of course, not in the US, whatever. It's like cool, groundbreaking innovation. How cool, you know? Oh wow, Soul Unison's like, in my opinion, an upgrade from styles. I'm sure people love their style changes too, but I think the idea of like sacrificing a chip and like transforming for a little bit, I like that a lot. You know, it's like, oh wow, like, you know, yeah, exactly, counter hits, like, you know, toning down some things. I'll say too, for better or for worse, it's pretty challenging, I think. You don't just get mega chips easily in that game. You, like, in most games, there's like some NPC that you can fight to challenge and get, like, you know, fight Gutsman for his Gutsman chip or Metal Man for the Metal Man. BN4 doesn't have that, right? Like, you have to find ghost chips. You don't even get roll in that game. I think it's the only game you just don't get roll, right? So like, it can be pretty tough. Then there's like those stupid mole virus or the sheep viruses that are like, yeah, there's a lot of like really silly stuff. So I don't know if I knock it against it. The challenge is interesting. So it's like, okay, you know, you step away and you're like, oh, that's like really interesting. That's really cool. And then it's like, I replayed it after playing BN3 again, and I'm like, the drop is just so unreal. It's like, you know, I don't know how people feel about the chibi style. I personally was not a big fan. You know, I like the chiptune music of BN2 and BN3. This is like personal stuff. Certainly the scenario is way worse, which sucks. Like, you would think like this asteroids, you know, tournament, like somehow they butchered a tournament arc, man. It's like, I love tournament arcs, and it's like, they're just, every scenario is like, here's a ridiculous fetch quest, here's some stupid, like, asinine, like, little thing you gotta do. I don't know. It's tough, man. It's like, you play it again and you're like, oh, like, this is so rough. I mean,
rubbing your face on every surface on the entire world to look for points.
and we nailed it too. Heaven forbid you miss a blue mystery data, right? Or the C slider. You have to get that every playthrough.
But the game is an absolute mess, and completing it
I know
will
that
earn you a
totally
trip
about
to
the
the
music.
loony
Like,
bin.
I know that was a
Also,
taste thing, but
there's
that
so
was
much
more of a
filler in
necessity, because if
tournaments
you
and
wanted to have
survival battles that
a bunch of
Twinkies
playable
are
nabbies,
jealous.
that required a lot of space to be saved, and the new graphic style helped save them that space.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it was a utilitarian move at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure. And it makes
chips.
sense. It makes sense. We have, you know, BN6 wouldn't be what it is without the chibi style. So that's a little nitpicky for sure. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like it. I dread it. It's like one of those games I'm like, oh my gosh, here's another stupid fetch quest, here's another dumb thing. You guys have good points. I mean, again, I wanted to give it an F. I could bump it to a D. That, you know, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like C's a little high, personally, but that's kind of where I'm at. Anyone have thoughts? I guess we could do another vote again if we've all said the things. Anyone have any other thoughts?
I haven't had a spot yet.
Okay, let's hear it. Soul.
But I'm gonna get memed on, and I don't quite care.
Okay.
But everything that you guys mentioned as a negative for this game was an absolute positive for me. Now,
all right, guys, I'm out. No, I absolutely respect.
Oh, so let me preface this with, I played Battle.Network 3 a little bit. I played a little bit of Battle.Network 2. I never played them to completion because I didn't own Game Boy Advance at the time. Battle.Network 4 was the first Battle.Network game I owned personally, physically, and 100%. And my God, I loved it. I loved it so much. Every playthrough was different and unique because it was a different scenario every time. And I just loved that so much. Every playthrough was like something just new to discover, something new to understand about the game. And I engaged in it. I didn't care about finding the memories and all these other things and all that whatnot. I cared because it was a new investment in the story that I can partake in every time. And it was fresh. And I even loved it more because you could keep playing the new game and find new things. You can keep doing that. You can add the navis from the other games and get more story content out of that. You get playthroughs that are completely different every time. And I loved it. I loved it. I literally had a game that had up to continue 63. I swear to you, I did. But I lost that game.
Continue
I wish I could look
63?
at this game with this. If I had experienced this game when I still had childlike whimsy and wonder, I feel like I might be a little more positive on it. I feel like
played this game in high school.
But Soul, do you think
fair.
do you think as a 30-year-old plus guy, would you still like, do you think it still holds up in that regard, or is it like the nostalgia speaking?
Honestly, it's not fair because what happens with people, and this is a common misconception.
Only the Gutsman scenario.
The first thing you experience in the lens of an entire game or a system or anything like that is going to be the thing that you love and gravitate the most because it's the first thing you experience. And it's wholesome, right? That's like Dragon Ball Z is an amazing anime for sure, right? But as a Dragon Ball Z fan who's grown up with that series, obviously I'm gonna still think it's amazing despite its flaws. But someone watching it from today in 2024 for the first time might be like, oh wow, this is nothing like, I don't know, some X new anime that came out. You know, the Dragon Ball Z is terrible. But the person that experienced Dragon Ball Z first and grew up with that, they're gonna think Dragon Ball Z is one of the best things of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Dragon Ball Z is one of the best things of all time. It's the same with Battle Network. This was the first game I experienced in the entirety, and I was there for it. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Battle Network 4 is A tier for me, bro. Like it's for me, it's A tier, and it's because of all the multiple playthroughs, dude. Imagine my thought process. I'm playing through number 4, right? I'm playing through it, and I discover base. And I'm like, yo, this wasn't even here the first 3 times I played it. And now I'm experiencing that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so cool. I don't know.
A is too high.
I understand. But that's my vote.
I respect you saying it.
I do respect it. That's cool that you had that experience.
I will say the only people defending for the ones who started with it and had no point of reference to compare it to. And that's my kill shot.
Yeah, that's my kill shot. I'm taking it. Locked in.
I will say, as someone who makes videos on these, like that's one of my most viewed videos, like 100,000 views. And a lot of the comments are, and this is absolutely not discounting you in any way. I mean, it's 100% genuine here. Every comment that says "I love this game" also says Battle Network 4 was the first one I played.
That's interesting.
Like now, your point about Dragon Ball, as someone who's in the exact same boat with Dragon Ball, like yeah, it does feel that way.
If I can chime in one more point that I want to make, I dare you. Well, I guess I can't dare you because you can't delete your memory. But I don't think BN4 is beatable without a guide. There are so many dumb little. I mean, maybe that's hyperbole a little bit, but
I had to memorize a lot.
Finding the C slider again, like 95% of your playthroughs, you're gonna need to get it. You have to talk to 3 random navies and random spots. There's very few hints about it. You have to do it every time. I remember as a kid being stuck in the Sharo. It was like Cold Man scenario. It's like you need to get Black Bomb F or something, and it's like. Where? How do I
chip traded it.
Data.
I chip traded it, bro.
Okay, so again, you had the most beautiful childhood ever, Soul. Your childhood was amazing with unicorns. Some of us played BN3 and loved the peak game, and they could not believe what happened to the series. They could not even believe it, man. They just couldn't believe it. So anyway, I'm getting passionate. I'm being a little silly, but A is high. A is very high. That's all I can tell you. That's very high.
That's my vote, and I'm sticking to it. Y'all can vote your seasons Fs. Y'all got it, bro.
In one scenarios, you pixel hunt in the undernet. It's a D.
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Need a guide? All right, then. Tell me how easy it is to get Air Hockey 2i. How hard is it, KNIJohn?
Can you hear that? Can you guys hear that? Forte was asking, how easy is it to get Air Hockey 2i, John? If you think BN4 doesn't need a guide, how easy is it, John?
There's some fun codes that are almost entirely locked off. Almost entire. I'll give the game credit. I don't think anything is technically 100% locked off when you're trying to like do all the program advances and stuff. But when I was trying to finish, there was like 2 program advances. I needed one specific code of a virus that shows up in one computer with a 10% spawn chance and like a 3% chip drop rate. And eventually I just had to have Forte send me them because I couldn't do it.
Guide. That is a guide. That's a guide game right there for sure. Yeah. And again, whatever. Like we said earlier, that was the era. You got to sell your guidebooks, whatever. But like, oh my gosh, that game.
I do want to say real quick while we're here, because like I know we have Rockman EXE Zone people here. Like, I cannot thank all of you enough. Everyone who makes those guides that like lists all of those are just
amazing. Yeah.
Godsends.
It completely impossible without it.
I'm with you. Okay, so I'm gonna go one at a time. Soul says A. I'm not gonna reveal my bias. Well, I'm very revealing my biases. Soul says A. Who's next? Give out a letter or any arguments if you still got them.
D.
D from Killer.
B.
B for B. Oh
B for best.
Let's go, Killer. Let's go.
John, what do you think?
I'll give it C.
C. Rockman, what's your take?
I mean, Soul's arguments. I mean, like, yeah, if you play it the first time, it's like a new experience, and it's like, I mean, D tier.
Okay. Amazing.
I'm glad it worked because it's clearly what they were going for. So I'm glad like the idea of like this wonder of a new game every time worked for some people.
Again, if the scenarios weren't just so stupid, it's like, oh, my ghost is dead. I've got to find the ghost. Oh, I've got to Sparkman. I've got to go around town counting trees. I've got to count trees for this randomized code. Oh gosh. Okay.
I knew every spot, every location. You just ran through it. It was just like easy at that point.
I am with John.
I keep my full cust in there.
Water God. I was ready to give Water God. Oh my gosh, Water God. Good Tofu Friday. I don't think I asked you. What's your take? Be honest. We have a range here. We have a range.
I'll bump up my initial F to a D only because it introduced a lot of mechanics that are staples to the series, and if I'm going to give that kind of credit to BN1, I have to do it for BN4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I want to give it an F, but I will also begrudgingly bump up to a D. So we've got an interesting situation, folks. We've got A, B, C, D, 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 D. That is what I have written down. I don't know how to resolve this.
C.
It sounds like it. It sounds like a D. It sounds like a D. Majority rules.
Do you guys all agree with that?
This is democracy over here.
They don't all agree. That's more democracy. Really, right?
I actually kind of like the idea of chat tie breaking this. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
No, let's go.
Do you want to keep
What do you think, chat?
Let's. I can make
chat with D's.
I'll make a poll. I'll make an actual Twitch poll real quick. I am so curious because again, this is honestly, and actually, John, I think part of the reason it must be your favorite or one of the most viewed videos is probably just like it's so polarizing, right? It's like one of the it's like you know, it's just
that's definitely it. There's a lot of people are like, oh, I want to hear what someone else has to say, but I want to hear him completely crap on this game, or I want to hear him sort of defend it.
Give me the SoulXCross childhood fancy and wonder. Like, oh my gosh, I wish I had that experience. I'm like,
he swayed me a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. I was between the C and the D, but I was like,
I know
that story was beautiful.
That actually was. That actually was beautiful. I hate it. I hate that it was beautiful. I'm like. I want to be, I feel like as a person, I'm pretty optimistic and happy, but like when I can just let it out, man, like there are some games I just want to beat down, you know what I mean? But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm not going to lie to you. It was very beautiful. All right, gang, chat. Chat. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people are on YouTube. I don't think you can, there's a cross-platform version of that. If you want to hop on Twitch for a second, you can. Why are there so many A's? I don't understand what. That's crazy.
Soul Story was just that good. It was that convincing.
It's just that good.
It's all for the memes.
It's a good game.
FNA for the memes, but you know
that's probably it. I think I turned off bonus points too. I do think.
Thank you. My peoples is actually turning up for this, and I appreciate y'all because y'all know what's real. Y'all know what's real for real. That's what I'm saying.
You can vote with what we pay 1,000. Looks like.
Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Wait. I'm sorry. Stop the count. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm very sorry. Stop the count.
It really is a political debate.
That
is crazy. I'm buying votes. I'm buying it.
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't. I mean, again, I'm just. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all.
There's no universe where Battle Network 4 get today. All right, get out of here.
That's.
Wow. Relax.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure you get your points back. No, I'm pretty sure you get your points back. But yes, that is the case. That is that was a huge oversight. Maybe I'll give another chip away as a punishment for my mistakes.
Come on, guys.
Okay.
Look at the game objectively, right? This is one of my things that I always have to deal with is new players joining N1 and being like, "Yeah, guys, Battle Network 4 sucks," and it's like, no, it doesn't. And it doesn't, guys.
I can see the argument for positivity, for reduce the toxicity, right? I could see the, again, I cannot believe that playthrough you had. That's amazing.
63, bro.
I did not have that playthrough. That's insane. 63 continues is bonkers. That is absolutely bonkers. I am not going to sugarcoat it. That is freaking bonkers.
You want to know how I lost that save?
How?
I'll tell you how I lost the save. I actually wanted all the battle chips to trade with my friends because they were trying to get into Battle Network at that time. And I used the Game Shark to duplicate chips. And then I found out Battle Network 4's code is like paper thin. The moment you try to Game Shark that even a little bit, everything starts going bonkers, bro. Oh, wow. And I lost my save file for it. And I cried. I cried, bro. I would
cry
pissed.
too if I did 63 continues and that got reset. I
was so proud of that
great
save.
argument for why it should be D.
That's crazy. You shouldn't be game sharking anything.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so the person who voted, so the person who gave it the highest rating wanted to game shark it. What does that tell you, chat?
That's true.
I wanted to play with my friends. What?
In order to play BN6 you have to game shark. It's a D. Do we agree?
That's crazy. That's propaganda.
The police had to come and confiscate it from me because I was just becoming far too powerful after that many playthroughs of Battle Network 4.
After 63 scenarios.
The secrets of the universe, and they just couldn't have that.
I love it. Oh gosh, that's funny.
Crazy.
That is funny. All right, gang. Well, as that gets wrapped up, I think there's like a minute left. I probably did too long of a poll, but again, it's looking very D. Just off the bat, 57% of the vote is at D. I will say a respectable amount of A's and C's. That's kind of interesting too. Okay, and again, I don't think do you guys think there's a big difference between Red Sun and Blue Moon? I personally don't.
No, you can lump them together. I think that's fine.
Honestly, it's just Junk Soul's the best one out of all of them. Let's just be real.
If we're keeping it a buck, 100% true. Especially in PvP. Like if you have Permasoul, Junk Soul's ridiculous. Like, I'm keeping it.
But no, to be serious, they're basically the same. I'm just saying Junk Soul's king.
Yeah. He does look cool. And because there was so much passion for BN4, I think there's no argument that we place it above Star Force 2. I don't think anyone was that. I guess Mega Rock, but otherwise there was no passionate appeals for anything like that. So I think that's pretty fair.
We're gonna change it once we get to the actual pad games.
There you go. Soul, as the ardent defender of BN4, I'll let you pick the next game. What should we talk about?
Let's talk about another controversial game, and that's gonna be Battle Network 5.
Okay.
And specifically talking about the Game Boy Advance ones before the DS.
Okay.
I think we should tackle like remakes last.
Okay. So GBA BN5.
GBA BN5.
This one will be interesting because the people who love 4 hate 5 because 5, what 5 tried to do was give the player respect more of the player's time, and that ultimately it does not jive well with the BN4 lovers because BN4 lovers don't they love the time being wasted. So because it
that's crazy. That's
crazy. And here's why. The whole multiple playable thing was done better in 5 because you could turn off the gateway to get the distant viruses and chips. You didn't have to play through the whole game and get V2 and V3. You just had to play through the playthrough 1, which is still not great, but you could do it. For that reason, and honestly, the Liberation missions, they're not the problem. The problem with BN5 was library versus the enemy design. Same problem was 4. They had shared the same problems, but 5 improved slightly in some areas. And it has the best aesthetic in the series. Best area designs, best looking net area, best sounding music. It is a scene.
Okay, that's a cool appeal. Who wants to go next? Yeah, Mega Rock, what's your take?
I just agreed.
So yeah,
those are good points.
Cool.
It's like a decent improvement. It does have some of the same flaws, but still, I think we can all agree it could be ranked higher than a D, right?
Oh yeah, 1000%. I mean, me personally, I don't know. That's my 1000%. Tofu, you were saying something. I cut you off.
Well, when I first booted up that game and encountered Liberation missions, I thought I bought the wrong game.
That's so funny. As someone who started with BN1,
yeah. So at the time, I hated it. I've grown to not hate it. Honestly, it's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. But I think that the Undernet is way too brutal compared to the other games.
Now that's a positive. I don't know what you're saying. That's a positive.
I could not get through the graveyard. I never beat the graveyard.
Oh, you're talking about 6, or is there a graveyard in 5 too?
Yeah, there's a graveyard in 5. The last area of the Undernet. There's like a bunch of tombstones.
I think that's 6 too.
Yeah, right? 6.
Am I going crazy?
Kinda. She said it's too hard. 6 was baby game. Honestly.
No, maybe not a graveyard. There was an area where you had to fight. Like all the viruses were very hard, and you were in the very last area. You
maybe Nebula. Yeah, maybe Nebula area.
Is this when the ghosts? Is this when the ghosts attack you? You get bugs.
Oh, I could see getting that mixed up with the ghosts.
I haven't gone back to 5 since I played it because I just didn't like it.
Fair. Well, so if you had to give it a score,
Nebula area though, not graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say, Tofu?
I'll give it a C.
Okay.
I think a C is very fair. It's nothing about it is terribly egregious or anything. It's fine, but not if you want classic BN gameplay.
Okay. Anyone else got a strong thought, or even a weak thought?
I'm delaying myself because I'm gonna have to be the one who's gonna come out here swinging for Battle Network 5.
I like it. Cosmo, what do you think? Cosmo, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't have that many strong opinions on this one. I think Killer's arguments are good. I agree with them, but also same thing. I agree with Tofu as well. But I did really like the Liberation missions when I first saw them. Like, I guess coming off of Battle Network 4, I was just wanting to enjoy something, you know. So it was like, I don't know. I didn't expect something like the Liberation missions, but I think when I encountered them, I had a good time with them. So yeah, I don't know, because it's like I kind of want to put in A, but I don't know. It doesn't really hit the highs as some of the other ones. So I guess maybe a B, I guess. But I'm kind of like in a middle ground right here. I don't really have strong opinions either way, so we'll see if John can sway me.
That sounds like a C to me, but I guess if you but maybe, well, I guess B is like the positive take on that. So
yeah, it's like a positive middle ground, whatever you call it. I don't
know. That's fair. Soul, did you share your take?
I did not, but I definitely have one. It's funny that Killer said people who played Battle 4 have a disdain for Battle 5, and I'm here to tell you that is absolutely false. I loved Battle 5. I actually really like when I was younger. It took me a little bit longer to get into the whole Liberation Mission thing because I wasn't playing it on Game Boy Advance. I was playing it on emulator, but when I finally got my hands on the physical copy years later, and I was able to sit down and give it more a hands-on experience because I was able to buy one. I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And honestly, I would give it a B. I really like Battle 5.
You are the first fan I heard that loves 4 and also loves 5. It's usually like you love 4 but hate 5. It's
I'm not gonna lie to you. Bro. It takes a lot for a Mega Man BN or Star Force game for me to like not like it. And the Star Force 2 looking kind of sus. But yeah, no, like I loved Battle 5. I really did. When I discovered base cross was a thing. Right.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Flabbergasted.
I was sold, bro.
I'm gonna chime in to give John the last word. I don't know if I agree with Killer on like a broad like sociological level, but on a personal level, I do hate 4 and I do like 5 a lot more. To me, 5 was like a return to form. It was like whatever that 4 nonsense was. We're back to like a solid scenario. You know, getting to know the characters. I thought it was cool that like a lot of BN2 characters returned, like, you know, getting like Magnet Man and Nightman and Shadow Man and Toadman. Like, I thought that was really cool. I just think Soul Unisons are cool, so having more of them was awesome. I think Chaos Unisons were interesting. Love the battle music in that game. I like the boss music a lot, the regular virus battles a lot. It's funny, I feel weird about Liberation missions. Even as a kid, I felt like they were too easy, but maybe that's just me being like a super spiky BN guy. I don't know, but I see a lot of people online who hate it. I, as a kid, did not have a problem with the 100 swinging your kendo sword at 100 things. I've heard a lot of people complain about it recently. I don't have a strong opinion on that. I know that is a controversial thing. I will say I don't really care for the dungeons that much. I feel like that Shadow Man, or not Shadow Man, that ninja one where you're like swapping the progs. That one I kind of dread every time I think about it, for whatever reason. So I don't know. I feel like B is pretty good. I like it. I don't think it's nearly as amazing as the other games, but I breathed a sigh of relief even as a kid that it was like, hey, here we go. We're back. We're backing at it. I like this idea of taking back the net, Protoman as your friend or whatever. So yeah, that's my take. All right, John, what do you think?
All right, so let's address this point by point because a lot of you said stuff that I absolutely agree with. I don't think there's anyone who said anything I vehemently disagree with at all, but I would still probably put the game in A for me personally, but a B if I'm being more realistic, I guess. I absolutely love Liberation missions. That's probably just because I like strategy RPGs. I would play an entire game made of just Liberation missions, and I know that's gonna make some people upset to hear, but that's true. Just the idea of having like this team that grows over time, and they're all supposed to have strengths, and then there's Medi, but they're supposed to have their own strengths and everything. They all have their own little quirks. That's really cool.
Many fans gotta go to hospital right now.
I never found the Liberation missions to be bad. I just didn't expect them in my Mega Man Battle Network.
It is different. Right. It's definitely
very weird.
Yeah, or jarring. Yeah, I understand.
Absolutely. Presentation wise, I know we dabbled a bit in the presentation here, but I don't think there's a game that wins as many presentation points from me out of all of them. And then Five's got like not just like some of my favorite songs, but like my favorite songs of like staples. Like the best boss theme, I think is Powerful Enemy. So the best like sad boy theme, I don't know what you want to call it. The best emotional theme, I think is Shadow of Heart. I think You Are Not Alone is the best hero theme. I'm sorry, Proof of Courage, you're right there. I love you. But I think You Are Not Alone is the best hero theme. So I love all the music so much. The Liberation theme itself is an absolute vibe.
Super.
I love all the someone said earlier about the Navi designs. The only Navi design I don't like is Gyro Man, and that's because not even because it's a bad design. It's because he's a transformer. He doesn't look like he belongs there. He looks like it's a completely different art style.
He does.
He's cool.
He's cool.
He is cool. Not a big fan of Charlie, but I'm sure we've all seen that image from the Rockman Complete Works with him in mail at this point.
Oh, true.
The only things I would bring down for Battle Network 5 that it would make me bring it from like A for me personally down to a B is end area might be the worst designed like.
Oh, John, did we
squares and squares and squares and squares, and it is so easy to get lost, and you have to go there like 3 or 4 times in a row during that scenario.
That's true.
Yeah, but the squares make a circle though. You know what I mean? No, but on a serious note, what's this about Charlie and May? Did you say Melu?
Yes. So there's a tiny little piece of concept art. I think it's from the Complete Works. I'm not sure. I've seen it. And it's Charlie and Mail, and it's like, hey, you should come see me in 10 years. Or something like that.
Wow.
No, I never saw that. That's bad.
I did not know that. I also did not know that. Wait, I'm gonna.
I'll have to. I put it in my newest video as a joke. I'll have to. I could take a screenshot of it later.
No,
I'll send it
that's
to you guys.
Terrible. Bet. I'm done.
Show that later. Debbie, don't live Google. That's a mistake.
Yeah, that is a good mistake.
Don't Google Charlie X Mail. Dear God.
Debbie,
Oh, I see it. It's so bad.
No. Run.
No.
Boy, oh boy. Okay. Well.
And then the dungeon, the dungeons. Yeah, they bring it down. I think the first dungeon is fine. The last dungeon is what every dungeon in the game should have been. Every dungeon should have been you swapping between the different characters to get stuff done. I don't know why only the last dungeon is like that. And yeah, the Ninja Prog dungeon is just trial and error because you can't see the whole field. You just have to keep looping around.
You know, it's funny, John. You kind of said something that I wish. Now that I think about it, I wish I felt more in the game. Because you're right. The idea of building your team and like these different personalities and like, you know, like that's a really cool concept. I felt like in the game. You're right. Like it like having more of that in dungeons would have been really cool and felt more like unifying. Because I felt like there weren't too many times that like the team got to interact and like kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would have been really cool to see some of that. Also, I will say again, as cool as like a lot of the stuff is, I think BN5 has maybe the most nonsensical plot. Not that that's a huge deal.
Oh, I love it. It's terrible. It's awful. At least Battle Network 4's plot is just non-existent. Battle Network 5's plot is stupid and bad and doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're going with a B. Is that the average consensus? Does anyone have a strong take either way? I've seen a few C's. I think mostly B's. I think is.
I've got one for you.
Let's hear it.
I think C for the GBA and B for the DS.
Oh, we didn't talk about the DS version. Yeah.
I think we should do like those versions a little later. Okay. Yeah, but I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's no denying the DS is better than the GBA. That's for sure. But I don't hold it against the GBA either because like that was just like a bonus add-on, like kind of final version, I guess. I like B personally. Does anyone feel strongly that it shouldn't be a B, that it should be a C?
I like B.
I'm not strongly for it, but I was gonna put probably WCDS as a B, and I can't put the GBA and DS in the same level. So
okay. I guess we were kind of split with C's and B's. Truthfully, we're pretty close. I could throw it another poll just between B and C with chat if anyone has a strong.
I think that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one to look at.
You guys agree?
Yeah.
It seems like it's close. Do the C's feel strongly that it's a C?
I feel somewhat strongly based on other games, but it's a C.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's open it up. Why not? But we can also probably move on to. We probably don't have to wait entirely for this.
Yeah.
I think we could all unanimously do 4.5 real quick.
Okay. Let's hear it.
F.
F.
Oh, God. F?
Hey.
A or
Yeah.
B?
That's crazy. Who said that?
See, when you give it a high score, you know they didn't really play the whole game.
I played like 6 navies. It's like the perfect phone game.
I 100%ed all 21.
But this isn't a phone game.
It's easy enough to play on the phone. It's easy. You play it once every day. I played it on my phone when I was testing the translation. I did like 5 navies. I did like 3 more after.
Okay.
You quote unquote play it. Okay. I think play is in quotations. It is
like,
so bad.
Get to the final boss.
TREZ put out a patch to change the gameplay. That's how bad it was. And this is a shot across the bow.
That's crazy.
That's a very funny take. That's a funny take. So what's your take? You're reeling here. What's your take, Soul?
All right, so I mean, I did say F, but I was memeing. But I would say like a low D. The only reason I say that is because the first real, if you're legally trying to play this, I want to put that as a lens here too. If you're legally trying to play this, you have to go through a lot of hoops to play it, right? And I don't really condone piracy in any kind of way. However you get your games, however you get your game. I prefer having the physical or extracting the games from my physical carts to put them on my computer if I want to go that route. So I actually own everything that I use, right? I have a bunch of the battle chips, stuff like that. But to expect someone to get all those battle chips and to get through all the gates and have to get all this merchandising, it's just not a good sell for a Game Boy Advance game. They're like, why do I have to have real physical life DLC for my GBA game? And the argument about it being a phone game, I think is fair if it were a phone game. It's a Game Boy Advance game, right? And we already have models of all the other Game Boy Advance games and what can make them good. And 4.5 wasn't that. I 100% love Gregar Master's PvP run of the game. I think it's fucking I think it's phenomenal. Oh my god. But it's like, it's really good, but I gotta say it's not great. It's not a great game. I feel like that. But I do respect giving it a high placing because it's the first game where you actually can play as so many different navies, and that alone is like really cool, and I love it for that.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with all your points. So I was gonna go to a D, mainly because you do feel like you're a net operator playing a Navi, right? And that's just main strength.
Yeah,
that's what's appealing for. So I can't knock it for that. The reason I give it an F is for what you said. To actually play the actual game, not emulated, the actual game, you had to have all these extra peripherals, spend all this extra money, and then you had to wait a week of like in-game time, like actual time, to actually play it. To actually do your tournaments, you had to wait days and days in real life, like an actual mobile game you've seen today. Not going to work. Sorry, that's not good. People who say, I play a few navies. Yes, if you play a few navies and don't complete them, it's okay. But if you play it more and more, you realize how tedious and boring and dull this is. And that's why I went from a D to an F.
I am very interested in MegaRock. Oh, I'm sorry, Killer. Yeah, you go ahead. But I do want to hear MegaRock's argument why it's a better.
I 100%ed every Navi. Got all the HP memories for all of them. The more you play, the worse it gets. Base is a good final, hey, you reward. Did everything. Have this OP character. Yeah, reward, and that's cool. But you had to go through 20 characters. In the English translation, you had to get the other characters because we're not using tools here. You had to beat the official tournament with every character. So it's in line with the spirit of the original. But in the original, you couldn't get every character unless you bought stuff. So that's why I have to give it an F.
I know MegaRock. I know we were talking about MegaRock. If you don't mind, I want to chime in too. I guess I'm surprised. Well, maybe not surprised, but I know 4.5 is like more fringe, right? Because it was Japanese only. People's exposure to it is probably through ROMs and like playing on your cell phone or whatever. Yeah. And maybe I'm the only person. I wonder if I'm the only person here who. I mean, I just love chips, right? I've talked about that earlier. Like having a chip gate, having the chips. I think it's a really fun experience. The game was designed for the Battleship Gate. Like it was. I feel like it's hard to judge the game without it. I can see that you could like. I don't know. It's tough, right? It's like, oh, I hated Dance Dance Revolution because I played on my controller, and it's like, no. The game was designed for a pad. You have to play the pad. You got to dance. Or I play Guitar Hero without the guitar. It's like, come on, no. You have to. It's designed for that. Like this is the real operation. It's cool to play as your favorite Navi. I do agree the story is nothing. I do agree the scenario is nothing. I just think it was like, for what it was, to have a full campaign dedicated to the actual experience of it is interesting and cool. It's a niche game, right? It's not going to be, I wouldn't even really call it it's not a mainline game, right? It's like, this is the definition of a niche spin-off. Play it if you got the gate, avoid it if you don't. I think for what it is, I enjoy it. Maybe B is high as C. I don't know. I wouldn't bash it for what it is. I think it's interesting.
I was counting for Battleship Gate. Like, assuming you bought those together, you still had to buy like extra chips just to use like the navies in game. You had to slot them in, right? And that was a gacha system in of itself. So even if I buy the accessory, I can't play the game's content until I get extra gacha. That is my issue.
But you can opt into how much you want, right? It's like, if you just want to have Gutsman and roll, like, you don't have to pay any money, like
you get the 4 basic navies out of like 21 of them.
True, but I also feel like if you really cared about your Navi, like, is that such a big deal to own? I mean,
have
maybe
an argument for that, actually.
Okay, let's hear it.
In that you have to really, for this game especially, you have to keep in mind the market it was sold in. And why it wasn't sold here in America, because we don't play games in that way. But in Japan, for forever, that's how they play a lot of video games, through a gacha kind of system. So the fact that they had to hunt for the chips is part of the IRL gameplay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it does. I know there's a meme of like, it makes you feel like Batman or whatever. I know that's a meme, but you really do feel like an operator. And for what it's worth, I like the AI Navi. I know some people like, hate it or whatever. I like the idea of just like focusing on your chips and your Navi does its thing. I don't know. That's just me. MegaRock, what's your take? I know you're probably dying to talk.
Well, I already had my bit about how I played it a lot and I enjoyed it on the phone. I played it like literally on the phone because it's easy enough to play because of the auto aim and control stuff.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, I got through like 6-7 navies or so, and like I don't need to finish the game. My impression is made, and I like the time I spent with it because it's like once you get strong enough, you just have enough of a like chip library to really sleep the first couple days worth of content. You just check in and play the game for a bit and play something else after, and it's like a modern mobile game, but back then, and it plays fine for the phone. And I had a good time.
John, what's your take?
I think that's fair. Yeah.
John, what's your take?
Oh yeah, I've just been sort of quiet over here because I don't. It's like you were just saying, like the cultural stuff and all the peripherals and stuff like that. I'm not a 10-year-old Japanese child in 2004 or whatever. Like, me personally, as like an adult playing this game on a computer in 2024, I'd give it like a D for the same things everyone said. It's kind of automated. There's basically no story. The time gate stuff is absolutely ludicrous if you don't do one of the ways you can get around that. But if I had a battle chip gate, if I had a bunch of battle chips, I feel like I could easily bump it up to a C, at least. Like that just seems like such an amazing thing to do, just for the novelty of it, even.
The novelty is strong. That's really the selling point. That is the game. If you're playing it without the chip gate, it's going to be subpar because it's just like not even a thing.
Like I said, it's like DDR with a controller. Like, I mean, that's Friday Night Funkin', but yeah.
Rockman, do you have a take, RockmanCosmo?
Not too strong of a take. I think everyone has some good opinions on this. I have actually been able to play it with the battle chip gate. In fact, Tofu, he sent me a battle chip gate with 4.5.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, the battery was dead, so I had to get it through other means. But I was able to play it with the battle chip game, the physical chips, and I think that it really is a game that's built on its novelty. And like, if it didn't have it, it'd definitely be lower. But also, I just kind of like I don't know. It always comes back to music for me. I don't know why. I like the little remixes that they did of the net navies, but also whatever, you got to unlock them as a whole nother logistical problem. But it's like some of the navies that didn't have like 8-bit themes, like Searchman, for example, the way they were able to kind of demake his theme for the GBA, I thought that was really cool. But I think since I was able to play it with the battle chips, and I do have a good amount, I think bumped up to a C for me. But if just like on its own, yeah, definitely a D. Because yeah, without that novelty factor, there really is not much that's there.
The base theme was a banger, and I mean, it was a genuine banger.
And I'll chime in too. This is total personal preference. I love that they returned to the chiptune style for the music. That's like something. Like I get really hyped when I hear 4.5 music on Tango. I'm like, yeah, let's go. I get really into it. Again, total aside. That being said, I think we've all talked about it. Let's just go one at a time and give our score. Anyone? B.
Okay. A game so bad that TREZ put a patch to change the entire gameplay model. That's an admission of failure. F.
Scathing.
I know it might seem unfair, but I got to give it a D. In the way that I can experience it, it's a D.
Okay. We got.
I've been swayed. I'm interested in giving it a B. I'm interested in giving it a B or a C. I can middle the C actually.
Novelty's great, but like I'm talking about substance is all.
Ooh.
Wow. Novelty is the substance for me.
I've got the full pack that came with the gate and everything. So even when didn't have a translation, I was able to play it at least a little bit. So I have some nostalgia. So I'm gonna give it a C personally.
Okay. Cosmo, what do you think?
C.
This is so spicy. We've got... So before I vote, it's BB, CC, DF. Yeah, I think it's mid. I think it's a C, personally. But with the caveat that I did play it as intended, and I'm literally the target audience where I'm like, I want all the chips. Like I'm the card game junkie who's like, I want to scan all the barcodes and stuff. So, with the caveat that and actually that's interesting. Me being the target audience, the highest I could give it is a C. That is actually really interesting. But yeah, I don't know, gang. That makes it CCC, BB, DF. I don't know how to resolve this.
That's a C. That's a C.
I think that's a C.
Yeah,
that averages out.
The D and the F cancel out the B's, and then the C's come in. So yeah, I think 4.5 by our communal experience is a C. Okay, how about MegaRock? You can pick the next one. I know you were the most passionate for 4.5.
Well then, let's go for an easy. What do we want to do? Do we want to do 6 or Battleship Challenge?
Take your pick. Oh, okay. I guess Killer is really.
Okay. How about 6 then?
Okay. Get rocked, Killer.
Okay, because we need an easy one that we all agree on, right? Okay, so like let's just put 6 on S and get it over with, right? Next game.
Yeah. What are people thinking?
A or S, honestly. My only reason
that's a hard one.
You can argue for an A is because the story is not the greatest on June.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like the story completely disappears and falls apart in the second half.
Yep.
It's also repetitive. Like how many times? On the spot.
We missed you a little bit, Killer. You're also getting a little quieter. I don't know if it's like a mic thing or a...
I'm back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So the reason I was gonna say A is because the story kind of it also repeats itself quite a bit, right? How many times Mega Man gonna get knocked out of World War 3? I know we're pushing alter navies. I get it. I would have loved to see a longer post game and not have alter navies, but what we got was plentiful. So high A for me. There's no sections of A. Yeah.
I admit this is coming with someone who does love PvP a lot. I strongly agree with the story stuff. I strongly agree with the repetitiveness. There was another point I wanted to make. I totally blanked. I think A. I think A personally. Even with the amazing PvP, I think and a good A.
For how cool Beast is.
Strongest library,
BN6
best well-designed library in the series.
plus or S based on how complete unicorn flexible 6F is compared to 6G.
M Cannon and Dive Man's area. It's like you're not even trying to.
Apple Turtle was saying Gregar is an S for how cool Gregar Beast is, and that Falzar is S plus or S minus for like the flexibility and competitive play. That's fun.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the people here and chat actually. For me it's an A, but I think with the English translation and playing with the gate, it becomes an S.
That's interesting.
I want to know what your guys' opinions on that are.
having also done a playthrough with the gate, it is pretty cool. But it's funny. I would have preferred something like 4.5, ironically. But it is. I don't know. It is interesting. Oh, here's my points. I think 6 is extraordinarily easy.
Yeah.
To its detriment.
Yeah.
That was my other opinion for A. I think like Machine Gun 1 that you get in like the
It's
start
pretty
of the area.
good.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
If the enemy design was like difficult, like 4 or 5, I could probably overlook the story and make it an S. I think.
Yeah.
I think
you
the
get the-
only. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, John.
No, go
for
ahead.
it.
I was gonna say I think the only challenging part about this game, and that's only if you don't like hyper plan your build for each boss, is like base BX. He is rough to fight if you don't like actually just make a whole deck countering everything he does, or something like that.
Only because his buster cannot be dodged.
Yeah, that's rough. 200 per pop and it's non-flashing. Oh.
No, it's also
Whoa.
like the buster comes out faster than the game can read your input. I know because I've done this. I've dodged 1 through 5's buster. I can't dodge 6 because it's even if you're on walking up an ice, the input does not come out fast enough. The game will hit you. It's honestly probably an oversight. You could dodge SPs perfectly. You cannot dodge BXs.
No, BX is rough.
It's probably an error, honestly. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm hearing a lot of A's. I know MegaRock was going for S. Cosmo, do you have any thoughts?
I think A is good. I agree. I think the story is what puts it down from an S for me.
And John, do you have any
Like
thoughts
the way
too?
it concluded.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the one other note about the difficulty is that, and you can actually see this. I'm sure people in chat can attest to this. When people mad at me that I'm not using crosses and stuff while I'm playing the game, it's like the game is so easy that unless you're fighting a boss, it's not worth the 10 seconds of watching the cutscene to see the cross come out because you could have finished the battle by that point with just regular chips anyway. So the cross is such an amazing system that regular virus encounters, there's basically no reason for you to even activate it.
Do we all agree A? Is this pretty unanimous? I know MegaRock was pushing for S, but I think like there's a lot of A's.
I think A. Yeah.
I'm hard pushing S.
Concede to A.
Okay,
I'm
hold on.
hard- I'm
MegaRock
hard
and
pushing
Soul
A.
are hard S's. Or
I'm
or
hard pushing S.
and MegaRock, you were saying like a soft S maybe, or like are you pretty hard?
Right? I mean, I could concede to A if that's what it takes, but I'd still rank it high up there.
Yeah, I have to agree with MegaRock on this one. 100%. Like, everything that was done with this game, I don't know. I feel like 6 gets a lot of flack for its story. It's a pretty good story. It's really interesting. It's engaging. I enjoyed most of it. The only parts that kind of slack a little bit is like the ghost hunting parts, but that's not hard puzzling, right? You can get through that. It's not like Freezeman levels of difficulty, right? Or annoyance. You can get through that with the little soul weapons and stuff like that and figure that out.
Honestly,
Other than that,
six had the best dungeons, man. I agree with you.
Yeah,
Honestly.
100%. They were really fun.
It had
That's
the ingredients.
Return to form.
It had the ingredients of a story. Lands a fish out of water. He's in a new area.
Mhm,
He's making new friends.
mhm.
He has a lot of potential. The issue I have when you go from the Act 1 to the Act 3, it stumbles upon itself a little bit. And honestly, the best parts of the story were probably Chrono. But then Lan himself doesn't really. Mega Man himself isn't really part of the story. He just kind of lets other people do his thing. That's the thing about Six's story. Other people do the job for him, more or less.
Yeah, this is interesting. I think it's a really easy A to me, only because I'm thinking about the games that I personally put in S tier, but but also, I mean, we could open it to a poll. I feel like there's 4 A's or 5 A's and 2 S's. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. So it's an A tier. It's an A tier. I don't think you have to open it to
we'll put a top of A, right? I mean, we'll definitely give it that. We'll give it that one for sure. Cool. All right. I think both Soul and MRE. I've had you guys pick the game next. I'll just go top down now. John, what game do you think we should cover next?
What game should we do next? Let's do Network Transmission because I want to know how crazy I am.
Okay.
Because I've seen some people defend it, and so I'm curious.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I kind of want to take this. I kind of want to take this through. That might be the only game I have yet to actually finish that's on this list. As a kid, I found it so difficult. I couldn't even wrap my head around, like, freaking Fireman and Gutsman. Where I like, what? I was like, this is crazy. I've heard it gets easier, but like, again, as a kid, I couldn't do it. And then more recently, as like a young adult, I tried it again. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna breeze through this. No, like it's still really tough. You know, I'm like, what? Like what? I don't understand this. My buster is awful. My chips are weird. I just have to grind in my platformer. Like what? Like what is this? So I haven't finished it. So take it as you will. I don't like it. That's my take. Does anyone really like it?
It is the game. It's the only video game I've ever played that has a perfect inverse difficulty curve.
Right.
Like it goes from being impossibly difficult to one of the easiest video games you've ever played in your entire life.
So funny.
For me, it's actually kind of A tier. I love that game so much. I actually did a little bit of streaming it in the N1GP with just a random group of us. We were just online. And I was like, I'm gonna stream this game, and I was working that game, dude. Like even in the early parts, like I don't know. It's one of those games I've played so much that I kind of just memorized what was going on, and it feels really easy to me, right? But I do understand that people who are just hopping into that game, it is so hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's the same thing for me. It feels like Rockman and Base. Like I play those games so much. I think out of all the Battle.net games, like Network Transmission, BN3 and 4 are the ones I played the absolute most. Like those are the ones I play the most. And then 6 I play daily, so I guess that is the game I play the most. But yeah, that's me.
Okay. Rockman, Killer, Tofu, MegaRock. Any of you guys have like strong opinions or even like halfway opinions?
This one's interesting for me because it's the only game on this list I have not actually only seen. So I look at the game and I see it has very basic design issues, and it seems very confused. Someone used that word. I don't remember, but that's actually pretty apt. It feels like they wanted to do a shooter. Well, they're also making a Battle.net, so they kind of fused it too, but didn't fuse it too correctly. But you get this weird mishmash of weirdness. So as a game, as how it is made, as an art form, I have to say an F. Honestly.
Respect it. I will say this. One positive thing I have to say, the music they're bangers. I'm talking like 3-minute loops of like unique music. Like the music is very good. And I actually, as a nerd, I do listen to the music pretty often. Maybe not super often, but I actually think whoever did the music did an amazing job. So that is a nice positive thing I can say.
It's the only part of the presentation that's really good.
Yeah, because even it's ugly. Even the game is even ugly. Like that Mega Man
video game. There's no level design. The levels are all fucking squares.
Yeah,
there it is.
Like Mega Man's the Hunchback of Notre Dame, just like crouching. You know what I mean? He's just like doing this thing, and it's
so stocky and weird.
It is bizarre.
That was your limit, John. That was it. This was the one that broke the camel's back.
I'm done. Arcade.
What was that, Tofu?
Who has the worst model, NT or the arcade?
That is the fact that you can debate that. The fact you can debate that is interesting.
Arcade hands down. Arcade hands down. I'm sorry, but the arcade
is ugly. The arcade is ugly.
It is. Sure. It is ugly, bro. I'm sorry.
It is ugly. It is ugly. Rockman or MegaRock? Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Well, a lot like the people here, I haven't actually beaten this one. It's one of the few Battle.net games I have not beaten. Kind of like you, Demi, I played the beginning and I got mad because, well, yeah, I mean, grinding in my Mega Man game, I mean, it just gave me flashbacks to 0-1, you know, and I cannot stand 0-1, Mega Man 0-1, so it's like, yeah, I didn't like that, but, I mean, as everyone already said, the music is god tier. I actually think it's one of the best Mega Man soundtracks, period. Like, I think I listened to this soundtrack so many times for a game that I haven't played very much of it, so really, my opinion is not. It doesn't really matter too much because I haven't gone so deep into it. But I mean, I can't really settle on a letter for now. I'll have to see what everyone else argues. But yeah, definitely the music's absolute god tier. But everything else,
I'll sell out. I'm a D or an F, straight up. I don't know. That's me.
Wow.
I mean, it's unique. I'll give it. It is definitely unique. It's just
D for definitely unique.
D for definitely unique. MegaRock, what's your take?
Now, I'm not sure I actually played this game. I think I only watched this one being played, but you know, and back in the day too.
Isn't that telling? Isn't that telling?
Here's the most Battle Network people we could find. Half of them friggin' played it. I apologize. Forgot where I am.
And so I'm familiar with the game. I've seen enough of it, but it's like I think it was mentioned before. It's kind of confused, and it shows because like the beginning is very hard. Like it plays very slow. It's not like the classic games that it's trying to emulate. And you walk really slow, and enemies take a bunch of hits. Your buster's useless, and you need to wait for chips. And they have a strange use count, and like some of them are utility, and some of them aren't. And yeah, that it's confused from a gameplay perspective. And having played WonderSwan, it feels like WonderSwan is NT, but better because it plays faster, it's snappier, it has an ending that you can get to relatively quickly and play it again. I don't know. I feel like I enjoyed WonderSwan more than I enjoyed watching NT.
Yeah, I think John nailed it. I died of laughter. This is literally like the most Mega Man panel of Battle Network, and it's like, and I think 4 out of 5, like 4 out of 7 of us, maybe 5 out of 7, like haven't even beaten it. Like it's
crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning F now, to be honest with you.
That's F. That's got. I mean, I don't want to give it an F.
Point.
I don't think it deserves an F.
Okay. And the F is rough. I'll take a D. I'll take a D.
D for definitely.
D for the music and just like the remnants, the sole remnants of playing a Mega Man game that's in there. So like every once in a while it peeks out, and you're like, oh, this is Mega Man. This is the thing I like, and then it disappears again when you like meet Bright Man or whatever.
So funny. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. I'm gonna put it in D tier.
F.
Yep.
As a game, it is bad. I cannot say it's the same as 4 because 4 gets some game right as an art form. This just doesn't. Based on what I'm seeing, to be fair, I agree. But it as a game, it has to be below.
Definitely D.
Definitely D, dude.
We'll put it. Yeah,
we'll put it at the bottom of D. Yeah, where it's still worse than Star Force and Battle
Yeah.
4. Obviously.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Bottom D, bro.
I feel that. Let's see. Killer, how about you pick the next game?
It's going to be the first F, I guarantee it. Battleship Challenge.
Spicy.
Good. I've been waiting. We get this out of the way. Put it in F tier. We can move on. So we have a point of reference.
Does anybody have any? I'm so down for this. Does anyone have any?
Can you make
opinions?
another tier that says not a video game? And put it on
That
tier?
I've been wanting to make that joke forever. It's like this game is a soundtrack, and it's a sick soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack. And every now and then you press the L button, and that's it. And actually,
if you've played .heck.gu, there's a mini game that is on your desktop. It's a nothing mini game that does nothing. It's called Crimson Versus, and you select 3 cards with various stats, and then it plays itself in the background while you do other stuff. This is that, except it costs $20.
Amazing.
Yo.
I will say this. This is my one take on Battleship Challenge. I think this is a hot take, so bear with me. I think it was ahead of its time, and this is why. I think Battleship Challenge would make an amazing auto battler. I think the idea of like, you know, like a roguelike, right? Like you go on a run, you acquire chips, like where do you slot it in?
Remember,
you go against your opponent.
Battleship Challenge is married to
So that's my take. I think as an auto battler, I'd be kind of interested to rework this game. But as it is, I think it's just not even a game.
The new AFK Arena. It's fitting. Most Boundary was ahead of its time in one way or another. So
Yeah,
it's the most.
That's fair.
It's amazing how they made phone games like twice, like on accident. They perfectly predicted how phone games would play.
It's true. 4.5 in Battleship Challenge. You're so right. Roxas Amala says, "Remember, John, Battleship Challenge has Mary Toa, so it's an S tier game."
Yes,
she's just
I know.
She's
Mary
just like
is an
me for
interesting
real.
character. It's a shame she's stuck in that game.
Yeah.
She's also another child with heart disease. What is wrong with the people who write over there?
So sad. All right, I'm glad we got an easy F. That sounds great to me. No one spoke up, so I'm assuming we all agree with the F tier.
Slam dunk F, bro.
RockmanCosmo. Or actually, let's go Tofu first, because I don't think we asked you Tofu. Tofu, what game would you like to cover next?
Let's go for Star Force 3.
S. The easiest S of all time. I love that game.
S.
I would agree.
I could go for S. My only caveat is The card blocking system sucks so much.
What do you mean?
So when cards appear top of other cards and you can't select anything.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that is like random RNG. Yeah.
Number 2, the warning system sucks. Where you can find bosses early, and when you want to find a boss, like say Taurus Fire, you have to go to a specific collection of areas, not the area he's used to in. Annoying. It's the only 2 annoyances of Star Force 3. Rest, I can't hate.
Wait, we said Star Force 3 or Bound 3?
Star Force 3. Star Force 3.
Star Force 3. Okay. I'd have to slam dunk S on this one, but I agree with your takes on that.
Like, those are annoying things, but to me, they're so small. Like, that's like, I think it's like one of the best scenarios. I love the music. I love like the idea of the illegal noise, the illegal cards, like transforming is so cool. And they took the best. Somehow they took the best aspects of style changes and like soul unisons and like fused them together in this really cool and interesting way. I love that game. I think that gives
the presentation of Star Force. The presentation of Star Force 3 sells whatever it has. What it has is actually more or less generic compared to Star Force 1, but it presents it in a way that makes you think it's higher. Which is what I say in an RPG, the presentation is the most important part of a game. Not your story, not your characters, not your gameplay. It's the presentation.
Or like your like what's the term UX, like the way it makes you feel, or the way that like
sorta Persona is, for example, is world class presentation. The way it presents everything, every UI element, every decision, the way it makes the music cater to the events, everything. It's an S for the presentation, brings it over, despite some grievances I have.
John, MegaRock, anyone, Rockman, do you guys have any strong thoughts or any opinions you want to add out there?
I think it's an easy yes. Yeah, it really refined the Star Force formula, and it really, and that's why it kind of hurts that now we know that there was a Star Force 4 and it didn't happen. You know, it's like they could have taken this groundwork. You know, they could have done some stuff with it. But yeah, I mean, the gameplay is great. I guess the gameplay is great. The music's great. Luna dies. I mean, it's just. It really is. You know?
Hold on, I have to rethink my ranking.
Spoilers.
John, the only thing I didn't like about it was the part at the end where I think solo, and you team up, and there's some kind of like touchscreen mini game that you do there. You have to like tap and stuff. I did not like that. I think it was towards the end of the game. But other than that, I liked it. I think it's definitely S tier.
Honestly, this being the last Star Force game, we had a good conclusion out of it. I can't.
True, a proper ending. It's funny because the Star Force 4 stuff, I feel that like it sucks. The concept's really cool, but also like I think it ended great. You know, it's
100%. Yes, it's not like a cliffhanger that's been around for what 24 years.
4 Legends, I know you and your
Legends. It's like it really did end on a good note. So it's like Star Force 4, lack of it hurts, but at the same time, I'm totally fine with it not existing as well because 3 ends on just such a great note. The only sad thing is that it sold so poorly. That's the sad thing.
Yeah, that is sad. I agree.
Yeah.
RIP Europe. Can you imagine not getting that game? Like, that's crazy. That's really crazy. John, anyone else? Anyone have any last thoughts?
My thoughts are just it's weird that I'm in this position, and people who have seen my Star Force related content know about my opinion on this. I would give it an A for me personally, and it's not even for any kind of objective quality reason. Like, I agree with every single thing you guys said about the presentation, the story, especially. It's not as good as Star Force 1, but I mean, it's up there. Like, the way they present it just makes it seem more interesting and impactful than it is. I love the noise system, actually adding some complexity to Star Force, which I feel is something, especially the first game, was lacking in the
Super
combat.
basic,
I mean, maybe in higher PvP tiers and stuff like that, it might have been different. Obviously, I don't know about that. But at the end of the day, I just, even at its best, and Star Force 3 is it at its best, absolutely. I just really don't like Star Force's combat that much. And that's what makes me bring it down to an A.
That's fair.
Even done perfectly, I'm not a huge fan of Star Force's combat.
That's fair. That being said, I think it's a near unanimous S. So I think I'm gonna, if anyone, I don't know, John, do you feel very strongly, John, that it's an A?
No. Like I said, it's a 100% me thing. That's why I was just kind of biding my time. It's not even a strong feeling. It's just like I personally feel that way. I understand why people think it's an S for sure.
Yeah. Also, Black and Galaxy should be its own tier above S. That's about
That's funny.
Those are crazy. Those do hype you. I will admit, I was hyped the first time Black and Galaxy happened. I was like, what is this? This doesn't do camera angles. We don't do that stuff.
Right.
Black and Galaxy. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
The VAs too. Yeah, you got a shot. The VAs sounds so crisp in that game.
Yeah,
oh, man.
surprising. You compare that
So
to like
good.
who has played Mega Man ZX Advent? Like, holy cow! Like, actually, a decent voice actor is actually like blows me away. Yeah.
But wasn't that like the same group
finally.
that did the PlayStation 1 Mega Man
have.
FMVs, like X4 and 8?
They very possibly. I have no idea.
I think I've heard that.
Certainly, Advent was. I think Advent was very much in that case. But yeah, again, Star Wars 3. I think it's pretty much just Geo. I think I don't know that there's even anyone who really talks other than him. But they nailed him. I think so. Cool. Okay, Rockman. What's a game that you would like to pick next?
Where are the mobile games? They're not here.
I could add those. You're right. I'm sorry. This was a tier list. I just yoinked it from the internet.
I'm definitely not biased here, but I really would like to have one of those here.
Give me a bit. Give me a bit to add those in.
Them.
Let's finish the others first. But you're right. We'll get those in a little bit.
So I guess of the ones here at the moment, I would pick. How about Battle number 2?
Ooh,
controversial.
Who's got some takes on BN2?
I'm
what one should have been.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a solid B tier.
Ooh, explain that one.
The reason why I give it B tier is because I think I just really didn't like a couple of the story beats. I'll get into that in a second. And Freezeman scenario. I really did not like that. And the reason why it feels worse to me than most of the other games is because that scenario stayed with you the whole time. Like, you were forced to deal with that the whole time until it was done. And it felt long. It felt so long. The story beat that actually bothers me the most about this game is the one, and take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if anyone is thinking about it as complicated as I am, but the one where Lan's father, who is working for the science lab, who kind of runs Natopia, is sending you to a foreign country as an invader through their internet to steal their program to program your son's NetNavi. Honestly, there was a planned fan game not too long ago. It was supposed to be an online game with PvP. It was a really cool, ambitious project. They actually wanted me to help write the story for it. And when I was going to start writing the story for it, my plan was to make Lan's father a villain, not like an evil villain wanting to destroy the world, but a villain via politics, because of the questionable things he has you do throughout each game. And that was one of the biggest offenders, is how do you tell your 10-year-old son to invade, especially after a crucial moment of their NetNavi that runs their country was deleted by Shadowman? You have him infiltrate this country's net and steal from them, and there was no repercussions for that. That's why I put it in B. I think it's a cool story. Otherwise, I like a lot of the net areas, and it was very unique. It was very fresh, but those story beats bothered me so much.
I think that's a perfect example of something Battle Network does a lot, because obviously it's a game for 10-year-olds.
Yeah,
and that obviously. They will bring up horrible, weird, morally questionable things and just never address it. Like the way you bring up Yuichiro being weird. If there's any character, people talk about Sean, about Mamoru, about Serenade. If there's any character I wish he actually spent more time developing, it's Yuichiro, because he has the potential to be the most fascinating character in this entire series.
Yes, which is why I wanted to write him as the villain, because it's not necessarily that he wants world domination or control, but it's the same way we got the atom bomb. Just to be your meaning was, well, you found this code, it was really cool, really unique, and then people turned it into a weapon. You know what I'm saying? He's literally I'm a good guy. Oh wait, I made a weapon.
I would love to see the way that he reacts to again, his son died, and he turned his son into a computer program. The moral implications of this and the emotional toll this must have taken on him is never discussed or even mentioned. I mean, again, obviously it's for kids; they're not going to do that.
being shocked. Like actually shocked as a child when that was revealed in BN1. I was like, wait, what? This person?
That blew my mind. That was in a game for kids.
Yeah.
BN3
I understand why the anime removed it. I don't like that they did, but I understand why they don't mention it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Sorry, Killer, what's up?
BN sort of trips over itself when it comes to like its messaging. Like they'll say natties are our friends, yet even like say in BN3 there's a quest where a natty was stolen and resold. But if they're really your friends and they're like people, then that should not happen. That's literally slavery, right? But hey, that's allowed to exist. The reason and so I agree with what you're saying. In the context of every other game, you have to. But with BN2 you gotta look at it like this: that game is so insane with its own story. Is an anomaly in the entire series.
Yes, I agree.
The dialogue is written different. Every scenario is written differently by a different person. The way they choose events is not the same thing in person. It's pure insanity.
Insanity. I agree. It is, and that's why it goes B for me.
It's like it doesn't feel like a sequel. It's like you guys were huffing something nice with this. I don't know.
Even in English, there's like a weird amount of swearing and stuff like that. They don't censor out "die" with other euphemisms or anything. I mean,
the swearing is one thing. The other thing is like there's some of the dialogue that I can't even quote on stream.
Let's talk about the reason there's a disclaimer in front of the Battle Network Legacy Collection.
It is just 2. You're right. It is definitely just 2. Yeah. I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I actually love BN2 for the zaniness. I love the chiptune music. I love I don't know. To me, I just love 3, and 2 is just 3 light in my opinion. It's like maybe not almost there. It's definitely a lot worse than 3, but even with Freezeman, I still enjoy it. I think Natopia is hysterical. That's like one of my favorite arcs ever. It's like Lan just gets like mugged and like he gets his chips stolen and he fights with Mega Man and it's like and I gotta go in a castle and people are gonna die. It's like what is happening here? Like
countries do fake America. It's hilarious to me.
It is great. Yeah. And then it's like, you know, I've lost all my chips and I gotta go to the hood and I've gotta like negotiate with like Raul. I love Raul. And it's like then I gotta go take on this upper class like Snake Man. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I love it for how zany it is. And again, I enjoy like
hot take
the chiptune. What's up?
I'm sorry. Real hot take. I don't claim to know where you guys are from, where you grown up with, or whatever. I understand that a lot of people also talked about how Raul in that back ghetto area where they were living could be a stereotype. But me being a kid from Queens who grew up, seeing that kind of representation for African American people in a similar setting that I was living in, that was like, whoa for me. I was like, yo, like, these guys are black. Yo, like, hold on, like, that's representation. You know, I'm down for this. And then you saw Raul, and I was like,
oh yeah, Raul was the coolest.
And he's not like a bad. They could have so easily made him like a generic gang member bad guy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, he's like an honorable, like
Queens, New York.
Yeah,
cares about his family and everything, all the people he lives with, his neighborhood. It's a step that I'm glad, you know, a Japanese game in like 2002 managed to get past relatively cleanly.
Right. Yeah.
Counterpoint. So Michael quotes the line that I was going to quote to you. I pray every morning to my God, chicken he provides. That was said by that kind of person. That's BN2 for you. They were insane, and I loved it.
They were insane, bro. They really
or how about like little kid on the plane, grab some whiskey, like let's like rap battle with me to get some whiskey. Yeah, there's some funny stuff for sure. Again, I love the zaniness. It is an anomaly. I think there's a charm to it personally. Again, I love the chiptune music. I like the aesthetic. I don't know. And challenging in a cool way. Personally, I thought Quickman's very difficult, but like I enjoyed it until you got Gator and then you just trivialized the whole game. But I think for what it's worth, it was interesting. I would personally put it in A. But it sounds like I'm alone in that. It sounds like most people
actually
would
go with A.
You're not alone. I would put it in A. I also concur with your thoughts. I mean, I did marathon the games, first of all, but like after coming out from Battle Network 1, which when I first played it, I was like, it's okay. But then just going right into Battle Network 2 and just seeing the significant improvement. Like,
I mean,
I mean, it's crazy how short of a time span this was made in. Like, Battle Network 1 and 2, I forget the release dates, but they're really close to each other.
Yeah, like I think in Japan it's like the end and the start of the year, like 2000 or 2001 or something.
Yeah, exactly. But the way the net was redesigned too, like they got the net squares in there. I like the net squares. You know,
I do too.
I think it was like it's just I'm just trying to imagine myself just coming from Battle Network 1 and whatever the heck that internet was, and all of a sudden just something that's actually clear and they were able to revise it so quickly.
I think MegaRock music. I think, not to cut in, but I think MegaRock nailed it where it's like that's what BN1 should have been in a way, right? It's like here's like the foundation for like most of like what the series will be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this really did establish that foundation, and yeah, the music is great. I really like the title screen theme. Also, the final area, I think it looks really cool. All the radiation and stuff, and also you're talking about how the game goes off the rails. How much radiation did Lan and his friends encounter? I mean, maybe
oh my gosh,
Battle Network 7, you know?
Yeah,
it explains everything.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
if he had kids, I doubt it.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
On the points of like the net area, it's the only BN game to use a different style of look for every internet area. Every other area in the games. Every other area in the games, like 3 to on, they use like the same kind of tile set, but change the toppings on it. In 2, it's actually just different. I think.
Yeah, which is cool. You feel like you're on a foreign net, or you feel like you're in a pretty different area, which I think is interesting. And actually, I don't think we touched upon this, but I think one of the better post games too. I like the World 3 area. I mean, Protectos suck. Like if you don't see them coming, I definitely got a big GO as a kid that I hated. I was like, what the heck? These Protectos came out of nowhere, and I can't even like deal with them. So that I kind of hated that a little bit, but I like the World 3 area personally. I guess let's just go in order then. I'll say A. Yeah. I'll say A personally.
A as well is the only game to have a hard mode too. I still regularly play
hard mode. That's true.
Hard
mode is such a cool idea. It's just a shame how you have to unlock it.
Yeah, and you also need a button combination. You have to title screen button combination. It's like it wasn't enough to do everything. You also had to know the secret inputs. Like what the heck?
Give it to you guys. I'll give it to you. I can see A tier. I can concede that.
All right, who else? Speak up, guys. We got 3 A's so far.
A tier.
Yeah, A or B for me.
I mean, Freeze Man is strong. The Freeze Man is strong, but I think I can still give it an A because it's basically just that, and then the Thunderman scenario is kind of annoying because they take your chips away, and then if you don't have chips that can hit him, you have to grind in that one little square that you can access.
That actually happened to me on stream like a year ago. It was funny. I was doing a thing.
I was recording my video.
I was doing a thing where I was having the chat like select my folder. And like I don't even think they necessarily intended it, but like I had a hard time with Thunderman as an adult, which is really funny. So yeah,
just be Wood style. You 2-shot him, right?
But he camps in the back. You need an area grab too.
You should have.
I mean, you should have. I mean, you should have it.
You should have had area grab.
I got Wood style one time, and I had to get rid of it because I needed a different style for something. And it's like the only time making any of these videos or doing any of these streams I've gotten Wood style.
Yeah. So interesting. Okay, well then, do we all agree A, or at least for the most part?
A.
I'll give it A only because I really like hub style.
That's true. That's true. Hub style.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Yeah,
that was really cool.
All right.
Shame hub style never got its like actual design in a game. You just kind of turn sort of purple, maybe.
You never get it right. You never get it right.
I know. So
honestly, I would have loved an effect in Battle Network 6 that changed his color if you used hub batch mid match. That would be so sick.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
That would be really sick.
That'd be really cool. Should we come back to 1? I feel like we've had a lot of interesting discussions.
I think so. I before vouched for 1 being in B code, and I'm gonna re-stand on that. I don't think it's 4.5 level or C level. I think it's definitely above that.
C.
Okay,
you think
so
C?
B from Soul, C from MegaRock. Who else, you guys?
BN1, C.
I gotta give it C. I don't think it's as good as Battle Network 5.
Yeah, no.
Okay, that's fair. Oh, okay. I think that's fair. I think I can go C.
Low B though.
It could be low B. That's what I was thinking too.
Low B is high.
It's too rough.
Looking at the rest of this list, I feel like C is really fitting. That's just me.
And it makes sense, I guess. I guess it is the most Battle Network. Like, just here you go. Here's the most basic Battle Network could possibly be. It is the most Battle Network game.
For sure. And actually, one other nice thing I have to say about it, no filler. It is just like nonstop scenarios, for better or for worse.
It's like, it's like 10 to 15 hours instead of like 20-something hours like most of the other
fetch
games
quests, you know, it's, well, I mean, there probably are fetch quests baked within it, but like within the context of a scenario, which is cool. But yeah, I think
everything looks and sounds the same.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, hey, you put out that one fire and leave, and you don't have to play the game at all.
That's
super quick compared to everything else.
That I remember seeing that in real time on Reddit. Like someone's like, "Is this intentional?" And like some guy just totally found like a crazy speedrun exploit. I love it.
Wait, what?
So, really quick, I don't know why it is. There's some flag, whatever. I'm not maybe Killer could explain it better, but basically in the World 3 area, you kind of have a rehash of each dungeon. The first dungeon rehash is the oven similar situation. You're putting out fires. If you put out one specific fire and then jack out and like leave the World 3 area, the game triggers the ending. You just like beat the game. You just see the credits. It's funny.
Whoa, like that's amazing.
Yeah. Some just a random guy just like put out one specific fire, decided to get more chips, and then just like triggered the credits. Crazy. Yeah, super cool.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Do we all agree C? I do hear some B's. Does C seem like the general consensus?
Better compared to 4.5 than 5, in my opinion, in terms of
Does anyone
put it over 4.5?
Under
4.5 at least.
Under 4.5 is crazy.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I
definitely before.
I agree behind, but I'll cave. It's significant. I mean, you have to give it a little. You give it a little bit of nod.
I'm not super strong on 4.5 because I've never played it correctly, so I can go either way.
Too. It's good on its own.
Poor MegaRock.
I have to back out from here, guys.
Good night. I'm sorry, my friend. I know it's late for you. Good night, my friend. I know we took a lot of 4 hours.
11 o'clock here too.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good one.
Yes. If that's good night to you, Tofu. Thank you so much for being here. That being said, I guess MRE, if you want to hop in again with another game. I know you're getting overruled on BN1, I guess.
How about Star Force 1?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yes.
My
take is that it's like trying to pick up where Battle Network 6 left off, but it does things in a worse way. I mean, if you thought 6 was easy, this is easier. So I don't think I was as impressed as I could be. The other games redeemed it, and until Star Force 3 finally gave it its own identity that wasn't just watered down Battle Network. So I'm gonna have to put a C on that one. Very average.
Okay.
I mean, look at this. Like a cool form you're never going to get, or then a charge attack you're never going to use. Like, I don't know. It has its issues.
Absolutely. I think most people will agree that the story kind of carries this game.
Yes.
It's bizarrely deep and introspective and like respectful of mental illness for a Mega Man game. You don't really expect it going in. But the gameplay itself, it feels like I understand, like, this game came out only like a year after 6, I think. So, like, it's not like they had a whole bunch of time to figure out this new console, figure out this 3D stuff they were doing. But it just feels like Battle Network 1 again in terms of gameplay. Like, there's basically no transformations. You get your version exclusive one and whatever. It's like that's like halfway through the game. There's no program advances. There's that weird friend combo code thing instead that most people probably wouldn't even be able to use. It just feels kind of really simple overall. Nothing offensively bad in Star Force 1. So yeah, I'd probably put it in C. Good story, but everything else is just okay.
Apple Turtle Cake says the original Star Force had an amazing story, but the combat constantly felt like it was a tutorial because the game doesn't offer an amazing level of power to the player.
It never feels like you're learning new stuff or getting stronger, really. You basically feel as capable in the beginning as you feel at the end. I agree.
That's interesting. I'll chime in and say, maybe I'm alone in this. I actually love Star Force 1. It's not... of course, Battle Network's gameplay is superior. There's no doubt about it. I just really loved the story. Like, I liked it so, like, again, surprisingly deep, surprisingly introspective. I really, really liked it. I think it holds up. I do agree that the combat is very simple. Big downgrade, especially when you look at 6. Like, big downgrade. I will also give the caveat, I don't think it's fair to rank this game. I loved Star Force Deluxe. I felt like that was like the only challenging Mega Man game I've ever played, and I loved it for it. So shout out to TREZ and the Rockman EXE Zone. I think they did a bang-up job, like such a good job with that game. But if I'm looking at just Star Force 1, it is very mid in that regard. Also, actually, John, you mentioned this earlier with BN6, where it's like, the game is so easy, I don't need to cross at all. That is how I feel about the transformations in Star Force 1. They're so basic, so bland. It's not worth the transformation screen. I will always take a white card over a form, at least.
It doesn't like only Leo have like a passive or something? Like I think not Leo, the Dragon. I think Dragon has like one extra little passive thing that neither of the other ones have an equivalent for. I cannot remember.
The form being a battle card you had to actually draw.
Azul Magia was saying the transformation being Mega Man with an element and not much else was a big downgrade. I think only Dragon and passive abilities. Also, the form being a battle card you had to actually draw was a negative for him.
Exactly. So yeah, it was Dragon. Dragon was the only one that had like a passive thing going on. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah, yeah. What does everyone else think? Soul, Killer, Rockman.
Have we lost connection or something?
Yeah, I feel odd.
I was waiting for everyone to speak up because I always speak up.
That was funny. It was like the most eerie. It was the most eerie silence. Right? I was like, did my internet die? I was like, dang, like darn. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Killer.
Yes, I was going to go with
the
B.
It also hurts Star Force as a series a lot because the game expects you to play with brother bands for in-game benefits because Leo brothers would give you the most HP capacity for example.
It's like a Game Boy Color game.
For a niche DS
That's what we're doing?
Going to hurt this game as time goes on because you would have to expect your brothers to have well-built
go ahead.
cards
But
or best
is
combos.
that what we're doing? Yo, this is like legacy collection takes, bro. Like, the font, my guy.
Hold up.
Also bad there.
I do want to chime in really quick and say it is very funny playing Star Force 1 directly after Star Force 3. Like the models are worse and the font is pretty bad. But I don't know that I cared enough about the font when I first played through it, but having played 2 and 3, it is noticeable in my opinion. Not that that's a huge detractor, but I do. It is noticeable. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, really, the biggest issue is they did not know what they wanted to do with their game. They used to have net nabbies running around. You had the whole BN6 PT in the junkyard, when realistically you had 200 years of tech you could have put in there. They did not know what they wanted to do with Star Force, and it shows in that game. That's really what brings it down more than anything else.
Really quick, Apple Turtle Cake was talking about how Star Force as a series gets hurt a lot because the game expects you to have brother bands. Not having friends for a niche DS game is only going to hurt the game because the game is designed to have like your well-built friend codes or your best combos with your friends too. So
there's a crazy amount of stuff like passive systems in Star Force 1. Like just playing nearby other people who have the game like gives you buffs and stuff. I'm not super clear on that.
Yeah, there's like you can like go into wireless mode and like then you get to use their combos and stuff. There's some little kind of fun things. Not that I've ever done it, because again, just as Apple said, this niche DS game, having friends to play with it is not always easy IRL.
I'm sorry. You know what? No, I can't do this. I see the fun. I do. Star Force 1's story carries this game for me, bro. That's a hard S tier for me, bro. That's a hard S tier for me, bro. The font is interesting, but you're not gonna walk in here and act like Star Force 1 did not put you in your feels, bro. You are not gonna sit here and be like, yo, Star Force 1's B tier, bro. For fonts? Nah, bro.
It's the font and the fact that the game is confused by what it wants to be.
I disagree.
Again, we're still talking about net navies, which they ditched by Star Force 3. It seems like it wants to be boundaric, but also doesn't want to be boundaric. It doesn't know what it wants to do, and it shows.
Well, to be fair, to be fair, I think there's a lot of truth to that, right? Because this game was originally supposed to be a battle network game, right? But it got scrapped last minute, and they ended up just making a newer game entirely because it was supposed to be a 3D battle network game. That is 100% true.
And that's why people go, and that's probably why people feel it. Like they're not consciously aware of it, but they play Star Force and they're like, "This is just battle network but worse." It's because we never got the full version of like what it could have made, and so we got this kind of half in between, half in, half out, and that's why people feel the way they do. It's just subconscious picking up on things like that.
You can feel it in 6, like regardless of 6's quality, 6 being the conclusion feels like just some weird tacked on cutscenes tossed at the end of 6. Like you could tell they had more to that was not the intended conclusion. They were going to keep going.
I will say, I will chime in. Star Force is very fresh for me, having played the DX patch every Monday. I was like surprisingly moved by the story. Like I remember the story being good. There were times, I mean, I'm an emotional guy, but like, and I don't often like get very emotional with the game. Usually I have like a pretty healthy distance, but there were definitely moments that got me pretty good with Star Force 1. I will say, it does carry it. It's such a shame the rest of the game is like so mediocre. But
wow.
I think, but I do agree with you. I love the story. It probably is the best story in all these games. I like Star Force 3 a lot for the story too.
So
but,
the best cutscene is in Star Force 1. You know, the best cutscene was when Geo transforms in Echo Ridge to save his friends being held by the Jammers.
That's a
best
cool
cutscene
story.
in the whole franchise.
It's funny. It's like Star Force is basically like a Magical Boy transformation series, and like,
yeah.
I just as a kid, I was like, I had the biggest like hero complex. Like, I don't know you guys, I would always daydream like, oh man, if there were a fire, I'd be saving all these people and I'd be a hero and blah blah blah. I don't know. I totally got like this weird like, you know, power tripping like experience from Star Force and like in like a projection kind of way. I don't know. Maybe that's too much, but I did like it a lot. Yeah. I don't know.
Star Force is Mega Man if you played as a Kamen Rider.
Apple Turtle says Star Force is Mega Man if you played as a common rider, which is pretty funny. So let's just hear letters. I think we've all talked a good amount, unless anyone has anything else to add. Shout it out. What would you guys say for your letter?
C, unfortunately. I'd give it a B, but unfortunately, too many other issues.
Okay.
I think the story carries it enough for me to bring it to a B. I think, yeah, as Demi said, I think it's just, it's really, really well told. But at the same time, it's also, as other people said, it's very confused about what it wants to be. As someone who, as I said it before, marathon the whole thing. I mean, I came onto this right after Battle Network 6. It was, I didn't really like how they introduced some of the new sidekicks. I didn't really like the way they did net navis here. Like, it was so random, you know, like there was that baseball one that it just felt very, very shoehorned in, kind of just to give you like, oh, look, there is a connection to Battle Network. And, and a lot of people, what I hear, like when someone talks about Star Force, they're kind of like, you could take Mega Man off of this and it could be its own thing, you know? And I think that it's true for this game, because it's like this game really wants to have a connection with Battle Network, but it just doesn't really make a strong enough one. I mean, even like Mega Man itself, like Geo is just kind of like, oh, what am I going to name myself? Oh, Omega Sis, Mega Man. It's like, even that kind of just feels like, you know, it's just scrappily brought together. And also Luna's absolutely insufferable. But yeah, I think the story is just great. And I also like the moving scene music, like the hero theme. You know, they keep it the same throughout all three games.
Sure.
It's like that for a reason, because it's a really, really powerful theme. So yeah, B tier for me.
I love Luna. You take that.
Oh man.
I don't know. I've reconsidered. I can give it a B for what might. I'd have to think on it more. What might be the best Battle Network series story? Like I can give it a B even if I think the gameplay is mid.
Demi's a Luna fan. Oh no! When he gets to OSS, I'm gonna have some work.
Gay.
All right.
I can understand. Maybe Justin Star Force 1. That's fair. It's hard for me to look at it in a vacuum because obviously you play all the games.
But have you met Zach?
Luna might be insufferable. But have you met Zach? Is what Apple Turtle says. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. Gosh, I want to put it higher because I like Star Force Deluxe so much, but I think I could live with the B. To be honest with you, I wanted to put it in A. Just because I like the story. But again, it's a game. We're not playing a movie. We're not playing.
You know what this feels like?
What?
You know what this feels like to me, Demi?
What? This
feels like that time you and your stream tried to gaslight me into thinking /cross wasn't S tier. This is what it feels like right now.
What?
This is how exactly I feel, bro. Like, this is insane to me. Like, okay, I do.
Sonic Boom.
I'm going home, bro. I'm going home, bro. I'm going home, bro.
I do, bro. I feel you. It is a very strong campaign, but it's, you know, we're playing a game, right? It's hard to not look at like the lackluster.
Oh, that is fair. Gregar does point out you aren't ranking DX though. This is Star Force 1, not Star Force with quality of life changes. I'll give you guys B tier. I think that's fair. You
bring up DX, and like that makes me think. We didn't even talk about the fact that this game is split into 3 friggin' versions for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Maybe the least reason of any Battle Network game.
Definitely the least reason.
Money, Mr. Krabs, money.
It's funny. It was clearly a test, and it's so funny how they backpedaled. They were like, "We'll still have 3 versions, but in 2 games."
You're right. Yeah, the fact that there's Zerker X whatever. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
It's funny.
I'm still a strong C, but if you want to go to B, I guess it's whatever. I'm still a strong C though. High C, perhaps.
I just think that story, it's just so. I think it's well written. I'm sorry.
It is. You're not wrong. It is, especially for a shonen. It's one of those games. It's like Mystery Dungeon. We were talking earlier. It's like I did not expect Pokemon Mystery Dungeon to have anything of substance as a kid. And I was like, what on earth? Like, this is cool. So there's definitely like a nostalgia for me that I still felt. I was really curious replaying Star Force Deluxe. Like, would I still hold this in high regard? I loved it, but you know, the rest is just yeah.
We'll beat it up.
All right. I think we pretty much agree for the most part. I know, and I think you kind of cancel out Killer a little bit too. I know Killer's like a hard C, but yeah, seems good.
I see low B.
Yeah, I see a little B. Yeah, I agree.
There you go. I mean, I would put it above BN5 personally, but I'm not. You know, I'm not.
Honestly, I would too. I would put it above BN5 in terms of story content.
I mean, I don't know how people feel. I don't know if we're splitting hairs on that, but
I don't. You can't. I personally would put it under BN5, but like I'm not gonna throw a fit about it if you guys decide to put it above it.
Now the aesthetic in 5 is basically perfect. Star Force 1, they didn't really understand what sprites, how they want to make things look yet, and it kind of shows.
The whole universe of Star Force just confuses me. I've tried to word this in the past, and I've been so bad at it. Like, Star Force's entire universe feels like this bizarre mishmash of different sci-fi ideas. Like, it's supposed to be 200 years in the future, and parts of it feel way more advanced than Battle Network, and some parts feel like a regression of Battle Network. Like the fact that they backpedaled eventually in Star Force 3 and just gave everyone a Navi anyway. Because I feel like everyone having a Navi to interact with the cyber world was a huge part of why those games felt so cool and futuristic.
That is so true.
Star Force 1 and 2 just don't have that.
That is true. That is really true. And that's another reason I love 3, because it does feel weird to not have that dynamic in this world for sure. Because what do battle cards even do? You just like swipe them on these non-existent.
In the anime, I think like in the first episode, they just like swipe it and the virus just like disappears.
It's like, and just magically, because you can't even see them. No one else is a visualizer, so it's like you just, here's my sweet cannon, and I assume that it did something. Yeah, I don't know. That's funny. It is funny. Yeah. I think we're good then. I think we'll move on. How about Battle Network 3?
I'm leading here. We're starting with an S, and if we can go down to A, but we ain't going down an A, below an A. We're starting at S, though.
B.
Why? Who said that?
Who said that?
I did. High B.
High B? Are you?
I could see not an S because some people don't like the press stuff, but all you gotta do is literally don't use undershirt. Just don't use undershirt, bro. Who needs undershirt? It's a game for 10-year-olds, right?
I'm an S. I'm a very hard S. I'm a very hard S. That's just me. That's just me.
If you need convincing, I got you. So it is the only game. It is the only game to get basic character. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The final exchange between Wily, Mega Man, and Bass is one of the most read between the lines character beats.
Yes.
Where Wily says, Bass, I desire only to get revenge against society. Why else would I want to make you stronger? And then Bass is like, net navies are tools to be used. What happens? Wily is like, you see, Bass, net navies are tools to be used. That's why I had you destroy Guardian to make you stronger to fight Mega Man and delete him. Bass was so strong, he hates humans so much, but he was manipulated by a human himself. And how did he pay for that? Lost his memory. Now he's nothing. He has literally nothing now.
Wow. Wow.
I don't want to be a bully, but MegaRock, I would love your take, and I'm trying to distill it as much as I can. I want your take.
In the Star Force anime,
I think
battle
it
cards
doesn't
are
have a
one-use
good reason
cards
to
to
be in
delete
two
viruses,
versions. It
presumably
doesn't let you
with
complete
downtime.
everything unless
Geo
you
as
trade with the other
Rockman
version. I had a hard
Mega
time
Man
with
can
that
use
when
his battle
I
cards
played the
numerous
post
times
game.
because
Also, I haven't actually
Warrock /
played the game
Omega's
all the
Eyes'
way
ability
through.
to transform into those weapons
But
aren't as
it has cool beats
one/time
from
use.
what I've seen. The secret area, particularly, because that's all I really got to check out. But I played 4 more, and I think I liked 4 more than 3.
Invalid.
You're my hero. Say that again. One more time for the people in the back.
Awful take.
Awful take is crazy. One more time for the people in the back. What did you say? What was that last sentence?
I like 4 more than 3.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
Horrendous take. Disgusting. Disgusting take.
The only
like jaw dropping, absolutely bonkers.
I mean, it makes sense. Demi, 4 is meant to be played in short spurts, which suits his attention span. And at dinner, obviously they're gonna prefer 4 more.
Really quick, I know it's a non sequitur. I know it's a non sequitur. Apple Turtle Kicks is saying in the Star Force anime, the battle cards are one-use cards that delete viruses. And then Geo and Mega Man can use the battle cards numerous times because he can transform them. So I guess a little context for the anime. Okay. I do agree there was no reason to split the versions. I'll concede that, and I will say I don't even care. Like I just it is annoying having to get Mistman or whatever. That is annoying. 100%ing it is obnoxious. You need like custom style by yourself or Navi style, by your team style by yourself, whatever. That is annoying. Obviously, there are some scenarios like Flame Man that are dumb. I still love it.
I agree on the split version thing. I will say you have to blame Pokemon for that one. And KNIJohn was copying Pokemon because it was, Pokemon does it for no reason. Let's just copy them. And people bought it. And I say, if you don't want it, stop buying the multiple version. But, hey. I agree with you on the V4 Navi chips. Super annoying.
Yeah.
Don't
even. That's why
4 did it better by inventing SP chips.
That's why I said I can see an A. I can't go below an A now. On the point that I was getting back to, it has the best foreshadowing outside of one moment from 1 that has the best foreshadowing. And you know what that moment is? When you go to your dad's lab, go to his desk, you examine it, and it says a picture of Yuricho and his 2 sons. That is the only moment of the game. That is the best moment of foreshadowing in the whole franchise. 3 comes super close with the whole undernet thing, the whole alphas at the start of the game, etc., etc.
Okay.
And they stuck the landing.
They stick the landing. I played it twice now on stream. I guess I'm not embarrassed because I'm sharing it with you all. I definitely teared up like at the end of like I loved it.
Yeah.
I actually think on a freaking Game Boy Advance game, like it hits the emotional, like, I don't know. I just love it.
Honestly, I really love how Killer put it too. Like the ending of the game where Bass is like, dang, I was manipulated, and then absorbed and kind of consumed by Alpha in the last stages, and then looking at the next few games that come out, the fact that he gets turned to stone. Almost every game he starts off as being in stone or encased in a tomb or something about him has to reboot because his memory is just destroyed. That actually gives some canonicity to like every other game and why he just is the shell that he is. And that's just how powerful Battle 3 was. That's off of the back of that excellent storytelling that he fractured in that way. And it begins in the game because when you fight Bass later, he doesn't even remember anything. but he fought Serenade, and Serenade like basically tells you he's just not the same guy, and that is really powerful to really think of it in that way. I that was so elegantly put. I really love that. That almost made me forget the sins for what Base became. Like, I love Base in Battle Network 6, and I feel like that was the biggest sense of him returning to himself originally.
He also said, "I give." He also said, "I give, I give" in BN6. He literally submits to you. So
yeah,
no.
I'll say one more thing on the story. I know, again, it's funny because Star Force, we were talking about, we can't just carry a game on the story. Obviously, BN3 has a lot of really cool stuff beyond the story too, but I will say, I don't know if it's the only game off the top of my head that feels like this, but I felt like there were real stakes in the story, like the end game of tanks coming out and like this potential world war of like technology taking over tanks, like. That felt like eerie, you know, like machine gun tanks in AC/DC Town is like so jarring in a really cool way. The alpha virus being so weird, and I don't know, it's got like there's such a vibe. There's such like it just feels so intensely like emotional. I don't know. I that's a thing that I really.
Well, we always get our fancy TV message that says I'm the bad guy. I'm taking over the world now. But Battle Network 3 is like the only time they actually bothered to show you that in any way.
Yeah.
The one scenario that really immersed me into the game, and I know this is the one scenario that gets a lot of flack, or probably the most flack in Battle Network 3, the Plant Man scenario. When you make that bond with Momoru to encourage him to go through with the surgery, to be there as this little wingman to encourage this kid. You don't even know this kid. And the way they handle his relationship with Lan in those moments, beautiful. To the point where everything starts going wrong, and they're in the middle of the operating, that it made me want to get through that as fast as possible. Because it was like, he's on the table, bro. And this is happening. And I was like, yo, I need to do this urgently, bro. I was frantically searching for the fire chips to burn those grasses, and it was perfect. It was actually perfect. And you know what makes it even more impactful is because you're the one that actually encouraged him to do it. Because he didn't want to do that surgery, but you encouraged him to be there.
Yeah, you're kind of responsible.
Now this is happening.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful writing. Beautiful writing.
And one more thing, again, I know we're just gushing over the story. I love the tournament arc. I think the N1 arc, like going to Hades Isle, going on the boats, fighting Tora ahead of time, like this sort of like pre-battle jitters, and like, having to get like the extra folder. I don't know. I thought that was all in one day. I thought it was super cool. As a kid, I was really hyped for the N1 Grand Prix, and I still kind of feel a little bit of that excitement as I play it. Cosmo and John, what do you guys think? What are your takes on all this?
You guys really hit like a lot of the main points here, especially with the story. Like everything I could have said about the story, you guys have already said. Really, I mean, like the Battle Network games present you with an apocalyptic scenario, well, pretty much every single time. The world's gonna end, etc. But it's like, as you all have said, this is really the only game that really has those stakes. You can feel the stakes. You could see, as you already said, the tanks coming in there. You can see the effects of Wily's. Of his plan, and the fact that you're going around these areas, getting into the tanks, and then just like, of course, the ending too. Like, given how goofily some of the Battle Network games are written, I mean, this one it's just perfect throughout. It's like this. It's sincere. It's touching. I love that. But if you asked me like 2 years ago, I would say this is like a B tier game. And it was because I liked the story at the time, but then like the gameplay, like. I guess with the Bubble Man scenario, like I remember really not liking that when I first played it, but then I replayed it about a year ago, and for some reason that one didn't sting as much as before. I don't know why, but I just remember, I did not like, I didn't like Bubble Man, but like also just there's of course that part with Lan throwing the PET. Like, physical violence in my Battle Network game, like I'm all for it.
Yes, please. I do want to add one more thing too, and this is something 1 and 2 didn't do as well, and some of even the games after 3 didn't do quite as well. Maybe 5. But when your homies, yo, shout out to Tora, shout out to Chad, shout out to Dex, when they was like, oh nah, we rolling up for real. We about to squat up on this final island together, bro. We dolo, we rolling deep. And I was like, yo, gang, yo, hop in, bro. We
it
out
feels
here,
really
bro.
cool. That's the kind of team mechanic that I wanted from BN5, right? It's like that's like the here we go, like let's go. The squad is here. You know, we're taking on the base. Bro. Yeah, it's cool. It is cool.
Sir, bro.
Also, R.I.P. Tora. Like what I like the older brother kind of rival like sort of feeling. I think he was really underutilized too. That was a really cool character that I think should have returned for sure. Okay. Yeah, John, do you have any takes on what we're talking about?
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, I think everything. God, what can you say about the game that you all haven't already said? All the story stuff, yeah, is amazing. Obviously, yeah, Mamoru's scenario is probably the closest the series could ever get, even in like terms of just being a video game in general and actually making you feel urgency in a situation. Yeah. And so it makes it so that the Plant Man dungeon only seems terrible in retrospect. When you're playing it, you don't really notice it, or like maybe on replays, but you don't notice it in the moment. Story stuff obviously carries it way up, and I'm saying all these things and how much I agree with all of you. So I can say that this is the one game on the tier list that my tier is affected by pure skill issue. I don't know what it is. I've played Battle Network 3 twice in like the past 3 years for content reasons, and I struggle in the first half of that game, like real bad.
The chips
like,
are rough.
The chips are real rough in the beginning of the game if you don't grind for them. And then Beast Man, and then Bubble Man, if you don't have a folder ready to go against what you're going against. Bubble Man is the worst little gremlin on planet Earth, and I want to throw him into a blender. I cannot stand him.
It's actually not the folder. Most are designed with the premise that they're going to throw a bunch of stuff at you and make you jumpy, get you emotional, and make you make a mistake. Beastman's exemplified this extremely well. With Beastman, all you do is sit in the middle and then watch. And then you move, take one deep breath, move forward, back, or up or down. That's it.
But I do see John's point.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's 100% me just not being particular. Like I'm not great at Battle Network, obviously, but I mean I've beaten the 1 through 4 post games, whatever. I'm okay at the games, but like I'm just aggressively bad at the first half of Battle Network 3. The once you get to like the second half, perfectly fine. Post game, perfectly fine. Other than the problems you guys pointed out, like the having to get the V4s, and I think the time trials are once you know how to do them, they're fine. They're basically a test. Do you know how the snake battle chip works? Okay, then you complete the time trials. That's basically all there is to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the beginning is a little rough for me.
That is a fair point, and I think like Drillman. Even endgame, like there are a lot of folders that can't deal any damage to Drillman.
If you don't have, I mean, thankfully a lot of the charge shots and stuff can, but again, that's randomness.
Yeah, because you might not have it, and you only have one style in that game. I will say, hold up, real quick. Shout out to the Navi customizer.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
right.
All that.
Oh, I love. I think mod tools. RIP mod tools, because that. It was crazy replaying 3 again. Where I'm like, man, mod tools. This really does feel like you're kind of like, I don't know, you're programming or you're hacking. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
I do feel that, John. That is actually valid.
You bring up the Navi customizer. I feel like people might not think about it as much because in Battle Network 3, the Navi customizer is also a source of, okay, I have to put in energy change. Okay, I have to put in oil body. I have to put in fish. I have to put in press.
Yeah.
And that's what most people seem to remember it for in Battle Network 3.
It is annoying. It is annoying for sure. And it's like, it's flavorful. It's like I have to modify, I have to compress. It's actually kind of, like, if you stop and think about it, it's kind of fun. Like, oh, compressing his data. That's actually kind of interesting. But like, yeah, the way it plays out is pretty awful. It's so funny because you guys are all right. Like, there are definitely negative parts to BN3, right? Like, some bosses are very obnoxious. I 100%ing it is god awful. But I love the secret area so much that I've never felt more motivated to 100% it. Like it's weird. It's like the rewards or the sensation of being in the secret area like just in itself like feels cool and feels
it's
like
the coolest post game area for sure.
Yeah, right. Like and really challenging. For better or for worse. You can't jack out. Some of those viruses are really tough. It's funny how much BN3 is carried by the story. We were bashing Star Force 1 in some ways, considering the rest of the gameplay. But I guess the difference is you have the BN, framework instead of the Star Force framework. So it's like even the worst BN is going to be like pretty fun.
It's got surprisingly good pacing when you think back on it. Like, I mean, there's the part where you have to do the 3 quest board things for Tora to tell you, hey, did you know that Eugene trains a lot to be good? Yeah,
the viruses that you raise make it A tier.
And then the Flame Man stuff, and that's really it. I can't think of any more like filler stuff. It's mostly stuff that advances the plot or feels important.
Which is big thumbs up for me.
Request BBS from Tora and Higsby.
Yeah. That and that's it though, and that's it. And even then, like John said, it feels natural to the story in a way where it's like, I mean, again, I don't know. It's I hate fetch quests, and that is a fetch quest for sure. But
I want to touch on something you mentioned there, Demi, with the secret area. Do you know why you want to complete it? 3 does a very good job of giving you breadcrumbs of an area and then making you do something else to unlock more breadcrumbs, unlock more breadcrumbs, stringing you along. You go to Darkman, you get 140 chips. What happens? You can now fight a new version of Protoman. You get 1 giga chip. You can get a new boss, and you can fight the last version of Protoman. You get fed with new content here and there, just gradually enough that you're being rewarded for keep going through. And that's 3's strength and spell.
Yeah, I agree. Really quick, Visor was saying introducing the viruses that you could raise makes it A tier. I don't know if he's saying it brings it down or if he enjoys that. I thought viruses were cool. I don't know. They were a fun little extra thing.
They're
they
cute,
like,
I guess. It's fine. It's not offensive.
Definitely not offensive. I will say the best bug frag grinding, in my opinion, I hate green mystery data nonsense in other games. I like that counter hits get rewarded. Although the game also does not, maybe the game explains it, some NPC does, but as a kid, I was like, oh, I just randomly got a bug frag. Cool. Like I didn't, I never drew the connection to counter hitting or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I love BN3 though. I do. And even with its flaws, it's like, I just love it. I just really love it.
Not having Tora come back for like a Tora or King Soul is like such a missed opportunity in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
It is crazy how Battle Network 4 has so many blank scenarios. When it's not like there weren't characters. There are plenty of characters. Obviously, that's like space reasons and stuff like that. Or maybe it isn't because the way the tournament thing works. I don't know. I'm not the technical person, but the first trilogy especially has a whole bunch of characters that basically just sort of vanish and don't really come back that often. Like we get the couple of Battle Network 2 guys in 5, but
yeah. It was cool to see Sean again. Even for a little bit.
Even just a little cameo
role. Yeah, it was cool. MegaRock, are you swayed at all by the things we're saying?
I think my opinion will further change once I actually play through the game at some point.
Fair. That's fair. I think that's a really fair assessment.
It sounds like everyone has a lot of good things to say, so I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I don't hate the game. It's just I haven't experienced it, and there's still something to be experienced.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing about BN3 is that it's the complete opposite of 4, where everyone slam dunk S's it every time, and it's hard to like not think of it as like a meme to not think of this game as S tier. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone says it. So is it really genuine?
My video that, and I don't even agree with that anymore. But that's what I named my video because that's what everyone said. So I was like, that's just the thing you say about Battle Network 3 is that it's the best one.
It holds that cash, I think.
Well, I do think it is. I think it is good. I think it is.
Yeah, it's funny because it is not perfect. Those are real downsides, what people are saying, and there are a good amount of real downsides too. And yet, I will play through that game any day. Like you don't need to convince me to play through that game. Like I just thoroughly enjoy it. So I guess maybe we'll drop our letters. I'm sticking with S personally. Even with the downsides, which I acknowledge, there are real downsides. I still stick with us.
That's for Serenade.
That's right. We didn't even really touch on Serenade. One of the coolest, most. I don't know. I love that concept.
One of the coolest characters to get screwed by space restrictions.
Right. Honestly, that's another thing I really love about the Balnoric manga is how they played with Serenade and Base's relationship to the point where they're like the bestest of friends at the end of it. I'm like, yo, that's literally perfect. That manga is so clutch.
I'm kind of the same as you, John. I haven't read it myself either. I really should.
And if only someone could translate the newer chapters that Japan got. I have the physical thing. I bought 2 books so I can send it to somebody to translate it for me so they can rip it apart and scan it all in. But I just can't.
Project. That'd be a cool
project. It's expensive. I shopped around for translators and stuff like that, and they charge, man. They really do. And I'm just like, dang, like I can't do that right now. But I really want this book translated so bad.
You're sure there's nothing? You're sure there's no?
I've tried looking for it. I don't see anyone with that translation with the whole new base story.
Soul, I mean, I guess we should pitch it to the community first, but I would be down to fundraise that. I'd be down to do another like stream because that's a really cool, worthy thing. I honestly, there might be fans that are passionate enough about it if we like kind of got the word out. But that just sounds like a cool thing. I'd be really down for that. Anyway, RockmanCosmo, what do you think? What's your take?
I mean, I'm not opposed to S, but personally, with all the issues that the game has, in spite of the story, I still think that it bumps it a little bit down to like high A. But if we all do an S, I'm not opposed to it.
And John,
it's like I said, this is like Star Force 3, where I say like it's 100% my personal opinion that brings the game down. It's not anything. It's not the game itself. Like, yeah, I agree with you guys.
All right, we're slamming.
Put it up on S.
Sick.
Why not?
That's an interesting debate.
As good as it's going to be, like for a RPG made in a year, 20 years ago on a Game Boy Advance. How much better can you get realistically?
No, you're so right. Yeah, you're so right. BN5DS.
This seems did we do Wonder Swan?
We have not.
We have to put Wonder Swan somewhere.
I think there are 2, aren't there? Unless, I guess Battleship Challenge is basically the same thing. I personally have not played this game. I have no opinion. I feel like I played it. I can't rank it fairly because I haven't played it.
It's handheld NT. That's all I can. That's all I'll describe it.
It's
NT, but better.
Go ahead.
This is riveting.
It is NT, but better. It's 100% right. I think it's definitely C, like bottom C, 100%.
John, what were you saying?
I was just saying it's C. It's like
it's just an average game.
It's a Mega Man game. It's not. I mean, the battle network aspects are kind of whatever because the battle chips. Honestly, your buster is so good. It's like the opposite of network transmission where.
Your buster actually
you just use the buster right away and it kills everything. And you basically don't need to use the battle chips at all. But it's got some frustrating bits, which are due to it being like 2 hours long, and they probably developed it for $5. It's got some like the invisible blocks are coded a little weird. Their timing isn't quite right, stuff like that. But it's an okay Mega Man game. It's
cool, not bad, not great, just decidedly average. Sounds like a C. I mean,
I'll debate this. It is better than NT. But it's still a D. It's the stage design. It's I think it was made by NT. Was still pretty. It's pretty bad.
But just to chime in, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can you forgive it for the system that it's on?
I can forgive this. Well, so how it works is you know what the Wonder Swan is? It's got like the A.
And it's like the sideways. Like you can hold it sideways.
The 2D pad things.
And the 2D pads. The other D pad is just for the chips, which are bad anyway. So why bother? Honestly, other than maybe healing. The other controls, didn't get in my way unless I want to use the chips, which you shouldn't use anyway. So it's really the stage design pretty bad. The best part about the game, though, the pixel art is clean.
Yeah, there's no like we're so used to Battle Network games constantly reusing assets, even the spin-offs, but like it's got all original pixel art for everything.
You know what? Very low C, very low.
Cool. I'm down for that. I think we're mostly in agreement.
Yeah, but like bottom of C.
Cool. I'm down. BN5DS.
Ooh, I got this one.
Just better GBA. I mean.
So this game. I'm of 2 minds of this game. You have to look at it as BN5. You have to look at it as just BN5, the master version of BN5, the Emerald to the Ruby and Sapphire, right? I like what they did with the GBA cartridge, where you can carry over your quote unquote save file via your folder. to give you credit in your game, and also, you know, makes it so that if you spent time BN5, you can make up your time lost there. I like the cartridge system with the DS, how 1 through 5 gave something new, even 4.5. Great stuff there. The music could go either way. You think it's worse or better because of the new sound font. Yeah, there are 3 things that are worse, though. The translation, objectively worse. The UI, horrible. The worst UI in the whole franchise. Don't look at that chip folder UI and tell me that does not bring the game down by a whole tier by itself. Sorry, it does. You're wrong if you think otherwise. And yeah, and the saving is worse because you now take time to save, not just instant like TBA.
You guys know more about this stuff than me. Why did they retranslate the game? Does anyone know why?
I have no idea. I wish I could tell you that.
They only changed some things. And the new stuff, of course, it stands out a little different.
Not only is it worse, there's really a dialogue box that's untranslated. Like it's in Japanese. Found it pretty easily.
I'm so sorry. I missed like the past minute of my camera died. I had to switch the battery. I totally missed what we were talking about.
He had asked that why did they because they did retranslate and it is worse. I guess it's just a Japan process where they retranslate every game. I don't know. At the time,
it's the same game. They just added.
Maybe because it was technically a different thing. I don't. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Well,
so
you do get slightly expanded chip descriptions on some of them, so that's a retranslation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like it a lot. I don't know what to add over the GBA. You know, I don't think it's like some crazy substantial improvement upon BN5, but it's cool. I mean, it's like you get more navies, you can have that party team system. The coolest feature to me was slotting in the older games and getting remixes of the songs. I thought that was really
Battle
cool.
Network 4 remix. I know everyone knows about it, but the Battle Network 4 battle theme remix, and that is so good.
Yeah, and interesting too.
Weird is
that OST is different than like the in-game one too, right? I don't know if you guys have seen or heard that. Anyway, whatever. That's neither here nor there. That would have been a good trivia question, darn. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's like substantially better. But it is better. There's no doubt. It's the definitive version for sure.
High B, the party Navi system where you can interact with your new Navis. Yeah, a high B.
Yeah, the fact that they actually have their little diet Navi customizer thing.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that.
Makes them not so useless.
Is there anyone who's like A for sure? Is there anyone who's like hard A pushing? Because I think the top of B.
It's better. It is slightly better than the other two. So just the top of B, the bottom A, whatever anyone thinks.
Yeah. Anyone have any thoughts on that? Also, this blowing in the mic to heal is crazy. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Screaming at the top of my lungs, trying to get it to activate.
My bad. I stepped away for a second, but I do want to add that I especially love the PvP in this game. So good. It's definitely Marvel vs. Capcom 3 of the Battle Network series. The team assists and pulling off hyper combos, team assist combos after a full sync, it is so sick. It is so sick. Honestly, that pushes it to A tier for me. That was another reason why I wanted to do it here, because that PvP is just so clean, bro.
It didn't even occur to me that you could use the partner navies in PvP.
That didn't occur to me either. But counterpoint, do people play that way? I feel like I've only seen BN5 like.
We can't. That's the problem. Because I would definitely be pushing it if we could.
It's just like not programmable. It's like a weird like.
We can't have it in Tango.
Mm-hmm. What was that, MegaRock?
DS emulators still suck.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess they can't do
Otherwise, I would be hard campaigning this. This game is that nice. Like, it still has some of the similar things that the original Battle Network 5 PvP might have, but they tamed a lot of the Dark Soul shenanigans. It's very similar to very similar to Legacy Collection in terms of like Dark Soul shenanigans, but it still feels really good to play. Like this, and plus you have two other navies with as much HP as you want to put on them, and they can swap in. basically the format plays out as Mega Man is the king piece. If Mega Man is deleted, you automatically lose. But you can swap in one of two other Navis mid-fight, and you can give them a program that they come in and do assist attacks for you too. And if, again, you get a counter hit and you tap one of your Navis, they both come in and do a really cool, crazy super attack. And it's like, yo, like, it is literally intense. I love it.
The super attacks are cool.
Really cool. Shane, I'll never be able to try it, but...
Yeah,
I want to play it so bad.
I've done in my DS playthrough. I remember going full sync and swapping and doing some combo attacks. That was interesting. I admit I'm not necessarily sold on it being A as opposed to B, but you know, that's just me.
That's fair. That's fair.
I guess I just have to take your word for it that like it's super. That's like a really cool mechanic. But I don't know. I'm not of the opinion that it's like so amazing. Like I'm looking at 6 and 2 and I'm like, I still prefer those. I don't know. Just me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Does B sound good? The top of B? Or people?
Yeah. Sounds good.
B, yeah.
Top of B sounds good. Top of B sounds good.
Whoops.
Soundtrack though, it's the best.
Definitely.
Soundtrack.
Definitely.
I know it's controversial for some people, but like I said, I said Powerful Enemy was my favorite boss theme, specifically the DS version of Powerful
Actually,
Enemy.
John,
my favorite song in the whole series.
I actually do love the chip, not the chip, but whatever you call that GBA sound font. I'm actually with you. Yeah. I prefer the regular virus theme on the GBA too, personally. But it's still a great soundtrack. There's no doubt. I love the remixes. I love the synth music. What's up? I'm sorry, Marie. What's up? Did I cut you off, Mega?
Oh, no, that's it. No, that was it, yeah.
Cool. Okay. Operate Star Force. BN1 DS remake.
Oh, this one's going to get technical. I mean, it's better than BattleNet. It's a better version of Battle Network 1, slightly. I feel like it should be F just on principle of being complete false advertising nonsense with a complete waste of time.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, that's interesting. Marketing campaigns do influence how you consume a product, as does the method by which you consume it. It does impact your opinion of a product.
You can't call it. You can't call your game, I don't know, Mario and Sonic, and it's just a regular Mario game where Sonic shows up in a warp pipe somewhere. Like, what's the point? Why did you market it like that?
And then worse, it's like, imagine it's like the original Mario Bros came out after like Mario World with that promise. Like,
yeah,
you've learned so much, and then you throw it all out.
That is hysterical. I will say this, in a similar, slightly different but similar vein, I think like huge missed opportunity. Like, where's the post game? Like, where's like the cool Star Force crossover? Like, where's like the? I know you have the in the middle of the game, but
the
like
echo filter they added to the soundtrack is weird.
I just feel like we're like BN is known for like great post game. So like, why are we stuck with this garbage BN1 nonsense?
Clockman.
Like, no, I know. I mean, that's like
there's a V2 and a V3 for Clockman. Come on.
There you go. Right, sick. We did it.
You
right,
still
that's
have the invisible post game bosses, which was super lame.
Yeah. It's definitely unfortunate. I will say, I mean, it is the best BN1. You have the star code. That's a meaningful upgrade in my opinion. You know, there's like the maps. That's huge.
Not
Internet
just 10
is awful.
fighter swords.
Yeah, you still get to break the game. I would just probably put it at the top of C personally.
Top of C, I agree with. I was going to say that.
But I do, John, I think you make a very funny point, though. That is like, just the rage or the sort of false advertising is actually very funny. And
I was so excited for years. Like, oh my God, there's this game and it's got Mega Man and the other Mega Man in it, but it's Japan only and I can't play it. And then, you know, you guys went through all the effort of translating it and I appreciate that so much. And it's just the most backwoods bare bones port of Battle Network.
It's lazy. It's very lazy, I think. And it's like, why pick BN1? Like, what? Like, could you at least have given us like a small collection? Like
they could have done like 1, 2, 3 or something. Like they did the Zero collection on DS.
Million times better, right? Like that's, you know, give us something. Like that's crazy to charge to change very little about BN1, have a very small like Star Force interaction. And I don't know, the Wave Coliseum. Like, yeah. What's up?
This is like the last like major. I'm sure they didn't market it as like a AAA release over there. I don't know, but like this is like the last like Mega Man game before like the dark times, right?
Yep.
Before like the slumbering period.
Yep.
Until like Mega Man 9 and 10, and then after that.
And honestly, like I don't blame people for not buying it. Like
yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
That's a really. What's crazy? That we're bashing it?
No. The truth. It's the truth.
Yeah. That is the truth. Do we all agree top? What's up? What's up, Soul?
I do definitely agree top like C, maybe even like kind of lower B, but I do feel like standing aside like the false advertisement and stuff like that, it is definitely a direct upgrade of playing the original, right? I just feel like that's worth something. So yeah, top of C for me.
Seems like
I get what you're saying. Like it is not an insignificant upgrade. It is, however, an insignificant upgrade when you were promised a different thing and also you had to pay for it. You know,
right?
I agree with you that it is a considerable step up. We didn't even mention that the Elect dungeon, possibly the worst dungeon in the series, is fixed by just giving you infinite tries.
Yeah, they fixed it by removing the gimmick. Fantastic.
Yeah, basically, it's just a matter of time. There's no more puzzle.
I mean, it's definitely top C. I almost want to do B, only because this game trolls the GeoLuna fans. Every time I play the game, I have to mess with those fans with like 3 dialogue posts. It's fantastic.
Share it right now because I'm a Luna fan. What do you have to say?
Okay, so when you go defeat Clockman, right? You have several lines from Sonya. She says, "Thank you. I'm sorry for always causing trouble." Geo responds, "That's not true. I'm just glad you're safe." And she goes, "Geo," with the 3 ellipses, and that's strike 1 against the GeoLuna fan. Okay, the strike 2. Okay, Star Fox Mega Man goes, "Lan, Mega Man, thanks a lot." Lan goes, "You helped save Mega Man Roll, so we're even." And yes, I had this on memory. He goes, and Mega Man goes, "Yeah, I'm glad Geo was able to save his special someone too." And then she goes, "Special, Geo does this mean?" And then he goes, "Huh? Don't think about it too much." Roll says, "Lan and Mil can learn a thing from you too." That is 3 strikes against the GeoLuna fans in one cutscene. That is a home run.
GG's, bro.
Hello.
Listen,
that's a handshake. That's a handshake.
I'm sorry, Demi,
listen, the Luna fans are smaller. We are, we're surrounded by the Sonya fans.
Wrong.
You would disagree? You think there's more Luna fans?
No, like we are wrong. I'm finishing your sentence.
Okay. All I have to say is, I actually have nothing to say because that's annoying.
Luna has a really nice cutscene in Star Force 3. That's optional. I'll give her that. She's got a really nice cutscene that you only have a 33% chance of seeing.
Look, man, all I gotta say is I don't know. I just think her significance to Geo is like, that's hard to overstate, like she causes his transformations in 1 and 2. And like her dying is like such an impactful. I don't know. I mean, it's #spoilers, I guess. But I don't know. I just like Luna, and maybe I just like Cinderella personality.
This spoiler free? Oh no.
I'm so
sorry. We gotta go back like 3 hours.
I know. For real though, I know. I know. If you're watching a tier list, you should expect it. I hate that. I want to put Star Force 1 lower, I guess, or BN1 lower, but I think top of C is probably where it belongs in all honesty. Okay. I'll be honest, let me grab those cell phone games really quick. I have not. I played a little bit of the first cell phone game.
Hero up for her, Sonya didn't.
Luna caused Geo to hero up for her, Sonya didn't. I'm with Visor there. That is true. That's an actual fact. But that's neither here nor there. I played a little bit of the first one, which I think is Legend of Network, or maybe Phantom of Network.
Phantom.
And I just got too tired of like translating everything over Google Translate that I was like, I'm just gonna wait until we finish, like we get the actual translation. So I basically have no opinion on the cell phone games. I have a little opinion.
With that. I have no opinion either. I haven't played any of them. I wanted to do a let's play for my stream at some point.
I'll weigh in if you want.
I would like to hear. I know John. So Rockman, I know is probably a little biased because he RockmanCosmo did directly make this happen. Killer and John, I know you guys have both both have strong opinions, or not strong opinions, but you have valid, like, you have valid opinions. So
any opinions?
Yes, any opinion, exactly. Yeah. What would you guys say? I guess Killer, if you want to start it off.
Okay, so I played Phantom. I'm in the process of playing Legend, so I will abstain from opinion there. But I will put Phantom at a solid B. The game's issues, well, more or less boil down to it is a budget being game on a budget hardware, more budget than GBA. So you have to come at it with that perspective. Understand, right? You're dealing with less hardware, weaker hardware, and all of that put together. That being said, even on that pretext, the story.
That's a B.
It's a B. I'll get to it. The story, what they have, all the text, actually pretty good. What they have there. The reason why it's a B is because viruses flinch in this game. Disgusting.
I forgot to mention that. I didn't mention that in my video.
You're trying to use flame line. If you imagine using flame line to get to combo damage, and the viruses flashes, ruining your combo. No, not happening. Second worst thing about the battle system is if an enemy is 1 pixel moving towards on the panel, they are on that panel. That's horrible.
Huh.
You get used to it though.
Number 3, if a virus is on top of another virus, the virus that's being covered is invincible. Keep in mind.
Hey, yo.
This is a game with Molokos. So when they run over other viruses, that's what they do. That virus is then now immune to all damage.
Okay, I do have to. I have a question for you though.
Yo.
Flinching and flashing are 2 very different things. This is my PvP jargon.
Right. Yeah, right.
Flashing.
Sorry,
flashing.
I meant flashing. Like they blink. Like the boss.
They blink. That's gross. That's gross. Oh no, that's so bad.
Those 3 things keep it from being above a B.
I'm surprised you didn't address the frame rate, but MRE, you are so positive and optimistic. I want to hear your take so badly.
I'm trying to back up the thing about the flinch. It's not all bad. Like it makes Vulcans pretty good because they flinch, right? Or like air hockey, right? Because they'll be stunned by the attacks, and you can stack more attacks. So they're like real pushovers.
They flinch and flash?
No, they just flinch.
Yeah.
It actually stops them in place a little bit. The Vulcans.
Yeah.
They stop.
Oh,
okay.
So you don't see the animation, but they effectively.
They kind of stop. That's cool, and that's why I ran Bubbler and he shot the whole game. I'm not even kidding. I am not using Flame Line against viruses when I can't one shot them with it. And yeah, no, not happening.
Huh.
That's kind of hype then.
Yeah, but again, the library is fairly limited because of the fact that we're on the system, and the chips are very samey because of that. Again, you have to approach it from a perspective. It's a budget BN game on budget hardware, so you have things like that. The final boss fight in Phantom Network, solid fight, one of the best in the series. I'm not even kidding. I loved it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Other takes. I'm super curious. I know, John. Obviously, you did a whole video on beating the cell phone games. You know, what's your take for everybody?
I did. Okay, so I think I would agree. I would either bottom B or top of C for Phantom. Phantom is these games are surprisingly solid for what they are. Wow. I cannot believe these weren't like 5-hour pieces of crap that they like tossed out on some phones. They're genuinely good.
That's like actually kind of hypes me up to hear. Wow.
Yeah, me too.
Well, wait till we talk about the other one.
Okay.
Like I said, obviously there's the presentation issues. The frame rate stuff actually had a sort of weird reverse effect on me. So, because I had just played both of those back to back, and then I started playing Battle Network 5 a day or 2 ago for content reasons, and like I was actually getting kind of dizzy playing Battle Network 5. I was like, oh, why is everything so smooth? It's all 60 frames. Oh, my eyes. So I had definitely adjusted to it. You adjust to it pretty quick.
That's funny.
Wow.
Like you said, the chip library is pretty limited. I think there's like I don't know, like 100, 120 or something like that. I cannot remember. And most of them are just either it's a sword, it's a cannon, it's a lob chip. It's just like one of those 3 things most of the time.
A lot of fluff. Like shotgun is bad. Like why? It's just supper.
The other big problem I had with it, and it's not even a big problem because it offsets, because it could also be really bad, and that is that there's dungeons, but there's basically not dungeons. Dungeons are just like, they're still areas, they got their own color and everything and their own viruses, but there's basically not really dungeon puzzles in Phantom. There's like 1 or 2 where you have to like put in a binary code But there's nothing bad about it, which is what I think brings it up to lets it stay in like the C or like the low B, is that I can't think of a part of the game other than one part that was my fault. I should talk to every NPC. I know. There's a part where you have to collect some data that dropped from a fireman clone, and before you can do that, you have to talk to an assistant in Scilab. And I just didn't do that, so I walked around that dungeon for like 45 minutes trying to find it.
John, that's so funny. The exact thing happened to me, and that was part of the reason I was like, I gotta wait for the translation. Maybe it was very clear what you had to do here. It was hysterical, actually. I spent forever, and people even looked up screenshots. They're like, it should be there. Why is it not there?
Yeah, that's what happened to me too.
That's hysterical. Yeah, I feel
felt
that.
so stupid. It's my fault because I never talk to NPCs when I play RPGs.
But then it's like we're playing. It's like we want the least amount of dialogue when we're trying to Google
exactly.
translate.
Like I'm skipping a lot of dialogue and side quests because I'll do that stuff when the official translation comes out and I could do it easier.
Yeah, that's hysterical. Actually.
Like I said, Cash is a really good final boss. Like uncontestedly better than Life Virus and Duo. Like that's not even beginning a question. And then how high you want to put Cash past that is a matter of preference. He does do something that I mentioned in my Star Force 1 video as like a super cool thing that Battle Network never did, and that is fighting multiple bosses at the same time. And Cash does do that. He calls duplicates of previous bosses you've fought, and he will like keep summoning them as you destroy them while you're trying to fight him.
That's cool.
Super duper cool.
You would think like the frame rate drops and like the sort of performance of a cell phone. It's weird that like what? How does the cell phone game do that and the GBA games don't?
It works.
That's funny. That's cool. That's actually really cool. Cosmo, I want to hear your opinion.
On Phantom Network?
On either. Oh yeah, I guess we're starting with Phantom, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's very obvious that it's tainted in my head because of I spent 3 years of my life trying to get this game.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's inevitably going to be linked with the process of getting it, and just the moment of playing it for the first time. Or I guess I could, because like everyone's already discussed the game itself, and I totally agree with that. So I guess all I can really say is how I really feel about the game personally, and it's just like I remember we got the game. I mean, we think we dumped the phone, and then we have the files, but then our team member username AK, he has to go through the file system of the phone. And it's like no one had ever really taken apps out of this specific proprietary file system before, so we're gradually doing that. And eventually he's like, all right guys, I got the jar jam SP files, so like we did it. And then all of a sudden like he goes through the files and he puts like, I don't know, I think it was like the title screen, like the logo or whatever. And then we're all like, oh my god, this is it. But no one had gotten the game running yet. But then like I was on my laptop at the time. I didn't have my main PC with me, so I didn't have the proper emulator that everyone's using for it. So I had to like piece together the emulator, like a portable version of it. So it was like one that was running like a lost Resident Evil game that I had preserved. So I just replaced the files and renamed the Rockman files to like Biohazard files. So then I basically tricked my portable emulator into playing it. So this is like all done at like past midnight. Like I was totally brain dead. And like the moment that I pressed start on the emulator and Phantom Network's title screen popped up, I mean, I cried tears of joy. It was so emotional. It was like, I mean, it sounds stupid, right? I'm crying over a phone game, but it's like...
No, you spent 3 years of your life in that.
That's a lot of work. I get it.
Yeah, and a big deal too. Yeah. But how do you feel about the game?
Everything, I put everything into it. So basically, like, that was how I kind of started with Phantom Network, where it was just like this incredible elation. And then, like, as I was playing it, I'm just like, I'm the only person on the planet right now that's playing this game. It was such a weird feeling, But then, like, I guess after we made the game files public and people started seeing, like, oh wow, it might be more than just 3 chapters, I decided to just barrel through the entire game myself. And I think midnight at Rockman EXE Zone, he was barreling through Legend of Network, and then simultaneously I was going through Phantom Network. So like running on like 4 hours of sleep, I think I made it all the way to the last chapter. And it was like kind of just seeing like how far can I go, trying to confirm if it really was the full game. And yeah, it really was the full game. So in that state, I don't think I was able to really process if it was good, if it was bad. It was just kind of like, I want to get through this because I want to see if it really is the full thing. So now that I am a proud beta tester of the translation that the Rockman EXE Zone is doing, and I've gone through Phantom Network again, yeah, all the opinions are pretty much the same as everyone else. Like the final boss is surprisingly solid, and like the whole fireman scenario, like the whole issue that you were having with that, John, that I never encountered that. Well, I guess on my first run, probably just because of luck, but I think it was made clear in English. But yeah, I think it's just, it's surprisingly good. But yeah, wait till you get to Legend of Network. But yeah, it's just really special game and surprisingly good for what it was made for. Didn't have to be this good. Didn't have to go so hard.
All right, so I guess for those of the 3 of you who have played it, I guess MegaRock, you probably played it too. So the 4 of you, what would you say? What's a grade you would give it? Or actually, MegaRock, if you have any thoughts too, I'm sorry, I don't think I asked you for that.
Right. So I played Google Translate for the most part, and I got to the end of the game, and yeah, like it's surprising how much of a core Battle Network experience you can get, even with how cut back it is. Like it's just really core Battle Network at its bare minimum, and it still surprisingly holds up despite its flaws. Like if you had never played a Battle Network game, like don't play Battle Network 1, play this, because it presents a better experience, I think.
Wow.
Phantom feels a lot like a Battle Network 3.5 to me. Like it's not quite 4. It's like a pseudo style change kind of system. It still feels kind of like 3, but it's still very unique in its own way. Like despite its flaws, so like tons of padding and fluff with the BBS stuff, and the combat is kind of weird. Like I mean, you're still playing on a grid. It still plays like Battle Network, but like the chips come out instantly, and there's like no delay, and everything feels kind of fast, despite how choppy everything is. And I wish the emulation was better so that the sound didn't crap out all the time. But it still holds up. Like maybe I'd put it like in the B tier or something, or maybe like a low B. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, 100% the emulation is the only thing that makes it like not as like casual friendly than like some of the other BN games, right?
Yeah, like there's a skin you can put, so at least you don't have 75% of your window covered up with all this phone jank. Like it's just the game window. That's pretty nice.
I ended up using OBS and just capturing it and then blowing it up in the OBS window and playing it that way.
I love that. That's a great hack. That's a great hack right there.
I use the Windows magnifier. It's hank, but it works.
Okay, so MegaRock is saying B. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd put it in B.
Killer.
I started with a B and I shall end with a B.
It is definitely at the very least better than Battle Network 1. So,
wow.
Yeah, I put it ahead of Star Force 1. So like mid B.
Wow.
That, I know that I would resist, but I haven't played it, so I don't know.
Like you gotta understand, like you have to look at it from a budget BN game with a budget hardware. Once you come.
But did you do that for the Wonder Swan?
You know what I'm saying? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
My issue with Wonder Swan is like it has very bad design issues with the stage. It's specifically designed just to troll you, like in some cases, like early Mega Mans are like a Kaiser run. That's why for me it was lower. The Pixar was beautiful though. I give it that. But this one, Phantom Network, it doesn't really have that. The biggest, again, besides the viruses issues that I pointed out, boil down to, what else? What can you really do in this situation? You know.
And even with the frame rate, I know you guys said you got used to it, but like even then,
I want to say that's emulator. I want to say that's also an emulator thing.
Huh. I was saying, but maybe it runs even smoother when the. I'm so sorry, I forget who's making the emulator. I cannot remember their name.
Oh yeah, Cosmo. Do you have a
Zer?
Right. Maybe once that's finished.
Huh.
Yeah. The biggest roadblock with the game is not the game itself. It's getting the game to work in a way that's comfortable for streaming and other purposes like that. That's going to be the biggest hurdle. So.
Huh. Okay. Well then, I guess B. I am personally not going to put above Star Force. That just sounds crazy. But like, if you guys,
I'd have to play the extra content to know if I'd put it above or below Star Force. I didn't touch any of the BBS stuff. There is a post game that there is like a little tease that there's some kind of post game area in there somewhere like it, but I'm waiting for the full translation for that.
I 100%ed it. Honestly, some of the requests are like okay, get to the point, right? But honestly, some of them are quite funny because again, with this sort of game, all you have is the text, so they had to make the text, memorable.
That probably explains what's why the story in the next game we'll talk about is so good. The hell they really had is this text story.
Funny. Okay, well then I guess B it is. That's cool. That hypes me up. I thought for sure it would be like, oh, whatever, you know. But and no offense to Cosmo when I say that. No offense to Cosmo when I say that. But I was like, it's a cell phone game, right? But that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm really blown away. This is some crazy great praise. And you're saying the next one's better? Like, oh man, what?
Oh yeah.
Let's hear it. I have no opinion. What's the deal with Legend of Network?
I have not played it. I've only heard good things about it though. So I need to get on the test and play through it when I have some time. So yeah, they say this as people have said before. It's Dark Force 2, but done better because I guess it tackles similar themes, and the story is very gripping. So I'll need to see that for myself. And yeah, I guess the combat's a little better. The arm stuff is better than the pseudo style change stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah. So I guess John, obviously you did a whole video on it.
Yeah. So I actually don't want to talk. Like, I know in my video I just spoil everything because that's my style. I just talk about the whole plot. But like, I really don't want to talk too much about the story because I genuinely think it's that good and you should play it.
Cool. I'll say less. Say less. That's again, that hypes me up.
Charisse is maybe the best written character in Battle Network. I'm not even really joking about that. Like, she's like your partner character who's introduced in this game as one of the new characters. I like her a whole lot. It starts with some tsundere nonsense. But...
Is that the girl with ring?
No, that's Mary
looks
from
like,
Battle
looks like Luna a little bit.
Yeah, she's wearing like Luna but red.
Yeah.
And she has Ride Man, he's a cowboy, and he doesn't have a buster. He's got like a 6-shooter, and it like looks like it just shoots bullets rather than like being a buster. It's hilarious.
That's cool. That's cool.
I love that.
You know, when Gregar was making his 4.5 patch a long time ago, I was always dreaming of him adding like the phone game characters into the game some way, somehow, because I just really liked them that much. But I interrupted. Please continue.
Oh, that's all right. But yeah, no, Charisse is really good. The villain is fine. Battle Network villains are Wily, who I hate everybody because I'm bitter, like Wily always is in every universe. Regal, whose plans range from downright idiotic to just not making sense at all in Battle Network 5. And then Sean is just like a brainwashed kid who's radicalized by the internet. So nobody at least has some kind of thing going on. Where he wants to revive his lost civilization. He's the only Battle Network antagonist who probably has anything close to like an altruistic, like positive motive. He doesn't just want to murder everyone outright. So he's okay in that regard as far as Battle Network villains go. The chip library is better. It's based more on like 5 and 6. And I'm not just saying that because Cornshot's in the game, but Cornshot is in the game. I just figured you should know that.
That's
very important.
Wow, this is cool.
This
is really cool to hear.
Yeah, the trans arm is just souls. It's the same thing. Only his arm changes for, I assume, like sprite size reasons. And they're basically rehashes of 6 we've already had. But I mean, the game has 6 souls in it, which is way better than the like half element thing that you get in Phantom. And it actually has dungeon puzzles. There's still nothing akin to like the better dungeons from the base games for obvious reasons. They can't really have moving objects in the dungeons or anything like that. But like there's like little puzzles and stuff and little extra stuff to do. So it's a lot more engaging in that way. Just overall really good. Like, honestly, I would have to... Between the gameplay being pretty good and the story being easily, like, top 3 Battle Network stories for me, I'd have to go, like top of B, probably. It's really good.
Wow. That's so cool. That is really cool to hear. I'd love to hear that. Wow. Killer, what's your take?
My take is I have to finish and I don't want to give a
oh, right. I'm sorry.
But if it sounds like it's improving on basically every aspect that was from Phantom, then a mid to high B does make sense. I could concur with that if that is the feedback we're going off.
It is for sure. It is absolutely better than it improves if you like Phantom, it improves basically every single aspect of the game, and some of them, like the story, significantly.
Wow. And John, that's so cool to hear because you were on Google Translate. It's not even like you got like the fully...
not even getting like the full nuance of the characters, and I still thought it was super good.
Wow,
and that's crazy. I cannot wait to play it with when an actual professional takes a stab at
it. Cosmo, what's your take?
Yeah, as I've made clear before with my humiliation over Yai, I have not finished.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I've only got to the first chapter. I haven't had that much time to go through the beta testing, like MegaRock, but I really want to get through it because, yeah, from what I'm hearing, it just seems so. It just seems like a really good incremental improvement to Phantom Network. And yeah, I mean, from like the snippets of screenshots I've seen from the story too, it just. They even make references to like Phantom Network story, but also other Battle Network game story. But it's like not like a throwaway reference. It's like it's actually well done reference. From
I don't want to spoil it. There is a reference in the middle, like 70% of the game. I literally could not believe happened. Like wow, this is continuity on unprecedented levels for this franchise.
Yeah, I guess.
And on a cell phone game, I love it. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I concur with everybody else because I haven't finished it, but yeah.
Well,
I'm
it sounds like it's just John, and I trust John's opinion. So there you go. Like I'm blown away in a cool way. That's really cool. Wow. Cosmo, I have to applaud you because you worked very hard on cell phone games that were totally worth it. I will be very honest. I can say this about Tofu without Tofu here. The arcade games, it was cool that we preserved them. They suck.
One of them is a coin pusher.
Yeah, one is literally a coin pusher. It's like, what are you gonna do with that? And a Battleship Stadium is just like spin a wheel. Like, it's totally whatever. But I'm glad we did it. You know, obviously preservation, blah blah blah. But extra cherry on top that they're like actually just. I mean, look at them. They're like better than like half the games. Like that's so crazy.
Without question, I would say they are better than Battle Network 1 and Star Force 2. But 4, like I said, we have to have a little bit of a conversation with 4. If you're going to play the whole game, if you're just going to do one run, maybe Phantom is like around 4, maybe. But that's like, I wouldn't go to bat for that. But yeah, they're definitely in like the top half of the series, bare minimum.
Wow, love to hear it. Dang, that's cool. That really hypes me up. I'm so excited, you guys, for TREZ's English patch to finally come out. That's gonna be so freaking cool. That's gonna be so cool. All right, everybody. Well, I guess with that being said, holy cow, it is late. I know I projected 3 hours or something ridiculous. I completely lowballed that.
30 over here.
But I apologies to everyone on the East Coast, but also like the fact that you're still up makes me think we had a great conversation. Like I certainly loved having you guys in. I can't speak for you guys, but thank you for being here.
A lot of fun. Nice talking to you guys.
So much fun. So much fun. Always a blast.
Love this.
Yeah.
So happy that you were like, it sounds dumb. Like, I'm so happy that you were all like cool, nice people after what's been happening with some Mega Man community stuff lately.
I know. 100%. I know. And I know we probably won't go super deep on that, but agreed. Like, I just think having a nice, fun, friendly, 1 year anniversary. And again, like, I really hope that people in the chat, again, I can't really speak to you. I'm sure if you're here, you probably lean on the hardcore side of Mega Man than not, like the more casual side. But I hope that there were things that you learned, not just the trivia, but like all the cool projects. I mean, again, think about it, like the N1 Grand Prix, like the Rockman EXE Zone, cell phone preservation, arcade preservation. John has amazing long-form content that's just like rallies people together. It's really cool to see. I don't know. I'm kind of in a great mood about it because I just feel like, I don't know. Again, I'm a sappy guy. I'm tired, but it's some good stuff, y'all. It's some good stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. It's 1:26 a.m. and I gotta be up at 5. So like, yeah, I'm definitely. Yeah,
I love it. Well, all that to say, again, one more time, thank you so much to all of you. Let's give one final plug, and you guys can plug yourselves. I'll go in alphabetical order. So, Killer, start us off.
Yep. I'm Killer. I work on the Chrono project. Come join us if you want to follow its development and see how the game pans out. This is hopefully going to be a very expansive BN fan project. Hope to see you guys there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. John, take it away.
I mean, y'all know, we talked about it. Y'all know who I am. Finally got the spin-off video finished, so we'll be heading into Legends 2 next. That's going to be a little bit, probably another month or two.
Because
I have to... Have you played on the Battle Network 5 post game for?
Have you really quick? Have you played Tron Bonne yet?
I have not. Everyone keeps telling me, and now apparently there was some like prequel thing that was like found and translated recently that I got to check out. I think
that's the cell phone. I think that's what Rockman. I think that's actually just a cell phone game. Believe it or not.
Well, I know there's the five islands thing, but then there was like it was called like Chapter 1 or Chapter 0 or something. It looked like it had something to do with Tron. I'm not sure. I'd have to check what that is.
Like
I actually don't know the deal with this.
Japanese only prologue to Dash 2. Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
And that is and that's like a new game, or that is it a cell phone game, or it's a different thing, or a PSP demo. Oh wow.
Oh.
Okay. Well, good time to be playing the Legends games. That's cool.
I guess I'll have to. I guess I will have to look at that stuff first.
Wow, I love that. Awesome. Okay, MegaRock, take it away, my friend.
So I guess I'm here repping TREZ, and yeah, it's just to stay tuned for the cell phone games, as you've heard so much about. The translations are basically done. Just doing last minute finishing touches, and to expect that. I don't know. We don't have a release date, but it's basically done, and it'll be here before you know it.
Love it. That's so cool. I'm hyped. Again, B tier games, amazing. That's really cool. Rockman Cosmo.
Yeah, I am continuing to preserve cell phone games. Like, this is not the end of it. In fact, we actually got in the easy web versions of Phantom of Network and Legend of Networks. Those are actually, like, the versions that we dumped are the Docomo iMode versions, which were released in 2009. But those are actually re-releases of the original easy web versions that were for KDD iPhones in 2004 and 2006 respectively. So we're working on, like, Tofu has the phone, we're working on getting that dumped right now. And it also comes with like this exclusive side mode for Phantom Network called Battler's Tower, but that one's also network dependent, so probably not gonna be able to play that one, unfortunately, but that might have unique assets. We'll see. But yeah, that's something to look forward to. And then of course I do this Japanese cell phone game preservation for a ton of other games, and yeah, doing a ton of stuff for that as usual. So
really
if
cool
you're
development.
Curious about those, feel free to reach out, talk to me about them, because yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I saw some people asking questions about the cell phone game, so I hope they feel free to DM you on Discord or check out, I think it's rockmancosmo.weebly.com. So yeah, super cool. Soul, take it away.
Yes, once again, my name is SoulXCross. I am a commentator for the N1GP, which is basically the international PvP session for Battle Network 6. Definitely come down if you're a new player. We have tons of resources for you. Lots of experienced players who would love to help you with your builds. Even if they're like mean, fun builds, we're not super hyper competitive. We'll help you out with your builds and whatnot. We're a very engaging, friendly community. Just don't come in there raging about facts of your build being the best player when you don't have that much experience, really. But yeah, we're here to help out everyone, of course. We're definitely here to help out everyone.
Well, before I give my plug, I just want to thank everybody once again. Just the Mega Man community is phenomenal. Everyone in the chat, everyone who's here, what a great crew we have. I would like to do more of these. I had a blast. I don't know if any of you're probably exhausted, so I'm not going to ask you on stream. But I would like to try and get some other folks too, representing maybe Team BN and other spots. I mean, there's just so much life to a franchise that has, that ended 20 years ago, and I don't know. I'm an optimist. I feel really good about the future of BN. Again, my name is ScoutmasterDemi. If you enjoy DS games, if you're a retro buff like me, or if you enjoy collecting just random Mega Man merch or whatever, those are my two big hobbies. I've got a YouTube channel where I do just kind of nerdy stuff in that regard. Really excited to really dive deep and start doing deeper reviews on the DS games. If anyone in the chat, have a particular DS game that you love dearly, do let me know. I'm really excited to check it out eventually. I'm looking forward to 1,000 shovelware games. That's going to be really great. And I will say, too, in terms of, like, random plugs, the Scoutmaster side of me, I like to travel and, like, I don't know, adventure. I just made a secondary YouTube, like, a month ago. It's, like, super modest, but I have a ton of content for every week. If you enjoy that sort of IRL silliness, I went to the Sonic the Hedgehog Speed Cafe not too long ago. had a fun video on that. And this week, this upcoming Tuesday, I'm launching a video on the IHOP, the Sonic IHOP. I tried everything on the menu for that crossover.
Ears
which was
perked
fun.
up. Sonic mentioned.
Oh, John. I could talk your head off about Sonic Adventure 2. Your A rank playthrough is really fun to watch. I can't wait to hop on stream again and watch more of it. Sonic
Thank
is
you.
like, oh my man, and finish Final Fantasy X.
I will. I promise. I'm busy.
It's a long game. I know. Ain't that the truth? Oh my goodness, for real. I'll drop our Discord link one more time too. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your night. Thank you for staying as late as you did. 5.5 hours. Holy cow. Have a wonderful, wonderful start of your week, whatever. Oh, one last plug. I'm so sorry. One last plug. If you live near the Georgia area, if you're in that surrounding area or whatever, the end of May, so basically a month from now, I'm doing a panel at a fan convention called MomoCon about the arcade preservation. I've been working on this, like, quote-unquote documentary. I mean, it's not as fancy as that, but a quote-unquote story of, like, me and Tofu and, like, making it happen that I'm really excited to share. So if you live in that area, do come check it out. It's called MomoCon. The panel I'm doing is called Arcade Archives. I also rented a pretty spacious Airbnb. It's very inexpensive to join us there if you're like out of state, but like, you know, whatever. You're super welcome to join us. Feel free to Discord DM me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much, every person, for being here. It was such a blast. I hope you rest very well. and I'll talk to you guys later. Good night, everybody. Again, we've got so many cool people that I am just absolutely thrilled to talk about. And we're starting with a really cute one here. We're going to be starting with my good friend, GoodTofuFriday. If you guys can take a second to take a little peek at this. It is so great to see you guys. Now, this right here is a bro picture, okay? GoodTofuFriday is somebody who I got to meet in person. So, to give you guys a really quick spiel before I let Tofu talk, back in December, so like maybe like 5 or so months ago, we had an opportunity to go to France. We fundraised money via streaming, which was awesome. And with that money, we went to France, where we data dumped 2 very, very mythical arcade machines. And we have a whole documentary coming out later this month about that experience. I'm super excited for it. But yeah, Tofu, great to have you in here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us a little bit about how you got into Mega Man Battle Network.
Sure, you guys. All right, yeah, you guys can hear me. Cool. So, I'm Tofu, GoodTofuFriday. I'm more of the hardware kind of person in the field, I would guess. I work with electronics very frequently, like micro soldering and whatnot. That's kind of my expertise here. And I got into Battle Network all the way back in, I think it was 2000 or 2001 when the first game released, actually. It was a graduation gift from my father. He knew that I liked Mega Man from the Game Boy Color, Mega Man Extreme. So when he went and got me a Game Boy Advance, he also got me Mega Man then.
That's awesome. So what got you into arcade and cell phone preservation?
Being obsessed with Mega Man in general, I was like, man, I really, really need to play those games that were released in Japan that just didn't come out over here. So I just kind of set out on a mission to, I mean, over the past couple, like, let's say decade, gave cursory glances as I was hoping there was something to come out, and eventually got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to take this upon myself, see what I can do, and see if we can get other people to help in on the situation.
Yeah. Well, and if I can chime in too, I have no technical expertise whatsoever when it comes to like data dumping and archiving and like what's the equipment needed. Again, having met Tofu in person, consummate professional. I mean, talk about somebody who did so much due diligence, who did so much research. If you guys don't know, arcade preservation is really finicky and scary. If you are off by like a little bit, if you are not using the right tools, if your files are just like even slightly incorrect, you can brick the whole system. Like you can basically destroy an extraordinarily rare relic. I personally was so anxious, my heart was beating the whole time. Like, what is going to happen if this breaks? How am I going to compensate this person? Tofu was the man. You could not ask for a better person involved with that. Thank you so much for all of your help, Tofu.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you helping to get the community to rally behind us in order to get it done.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it was the best. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Next up, we've got Killer336, also goes by Giver336, and even Taker336. You are definitely a man of many usernames, my friend. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Killer, and how did you get into Mega Man Battle Network?
Hey there. Yep, as he already gave the spiel, that was one of my names, Killer. I've been in this franchise since Battle Network 3 released. Actually, a little bit after release. I got into it right before BN4 was starting to come out. I saw someone playing the game, looked actually pretty unique, and to this day, Battle Network game style is still pretty unique. And I played it, and honestly, I was kind of hooked, and I got the game myself later. A little fun fact, though, Demi, when I first played this game, I didn't know how to change my folder, so I got up to Punk with the basic folder.
No way.
and I won, and I'm just like, I can't keep doing this. What do I do? And I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it.
That is amazing because, gang, I don't know the last time you played Battle Network 1. That game is rough, okay? That is a rough game. I don't even think you can charge your Mega Buster right away. You've got to, like, unlock that with power-ups. So I'm talking, you're probably just spamming the B button, 1 damage a pop. That's ridiculous.
It's BN3. So I'm fighting Flashman, I'm fighting Beastman. And I'm just like, I've got cannons and sword. I'm like, I see a sword. I'm like, oh my god, a sword! If I could just plan this right, I can hit him. And I guess that's what kickstarted my, ability to use chips properly. But then, I get to Punk and I win. But then it took a couple hours, and then from there, I'm like, oh, this is how everything works. Oh,
right. I'm sorry. It's not that you don't know how to use chips. You just didn't know how to edit the folder. You still had swords and stuff. Yeah. It took me a second to realize that. That's still hysterical. Wow. Okay, so Killer. You are, again, as we see on the screen, you are the project lead and writer for Mega Man Battle Network Chrono EXE. For folks who might not know about it, give us the spiel. What exactly is it?
It's a fan-made continuation of the franchise of starting from, continues a year after Battle Network 6 happened. And this was done because, A, people are more familiar with Land Kari, and B, because we can start using, some of those art assets to create the rest of the adventure. One thing you've learned when you try and make games is one of the hardest things to create is the art. Essentially, every time you play a game, anytime, the art's sort of the baseline at first, not just the programming as well. If you want to do like an attack, have a boss, or do whatever, you need the art. So starting from a baseline there also helps. Plus, people like Land Kari as a character. So that was the direction we originally went with. But yeah, it's been done for quite a while. We changed scope quite a few times, but I think the game ultimately will come out far better for it. So I'm happy to say that. I think that's just the basic summary. Anything else?
Yeah, no. Well, I chose this specific image right here because I think, first of all, having played the demo, and of course, as you said, this has definitely been a project that's been around for a while. Having played the demo myself, I was blown away by, one, how authentic it felt while still being unique. It was absolutely amazing. And two, I think that having actual online net battling is such a cool feature. I have no idea how difficult that is to implement. I would imagine very difficult to implement, to have servers running and things like that. And to me, I think it catapults an already authentic and extremely cool, rich game developed by fans for fans into something really legendary. And I wanted to sort of pick your brain a little bit about the net battling aspect.
Especially after the news updates. Oh man, they're so awesome.
Yeah, no problem. So the one that came out in for Demo 5.0 was just using peer-to-peer. You gotta keep in mind when we started this game, SoulX and Demi, there was no really centralized banner community to speak of. So PvP was not on our radar. It's like, hey, this community is fractured. It's got no one in it. Why have PvP? It's because I'm of the opinion you don't have an audience for PvP. Why do you have PvP? Right? PvP. So now the community has taken off. That naturally has few desires for, hey, let's have some multiplayer, and that's fair. But that means CX wasn't started with that in mind. So we had to do quite a bit of rewrite to get the system into what it was for 5.0, and then we wrote it again for the next one because we changed system, we improved systems dramatically. You got your mechanics going around. We essentially made it so that it was far easier to adjust. And Max Rock, who's a programmer, is just one guy doing all this. He's a wizard. He's what you would call the black wizard. He's like, how does this work? Black magic. That's Max.
Amazing.
So you got your peer-to-peer. You've got local network. Local, if you're on the same Wi-Fi network as someone else, it'll work. We now use matchmaking we have a server now that if you're from New York, you should easily be able to connect with someone on the Los Angeles side of things, and without having to go through peer-to-peer. That makes it more convenient. Matchmaking is something people want, so we were able to do it, and that didn't take that long actually. The other tricky part was getting Android and PC to work together in a net battle together. That's all.
That is a feature I didn't realize was even possible, and I imagine that is a headache. And wow, like A+ effort for like going the extra mile in that regard. That's really cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
There was a lot of rewrites to get to this point, and I'm happy it works. Honestly, it really does work. I play it, and I sit there, and I go, wow. Thank you, Max.
I did that. Yeah, wow.
Just sit there, just blown away by how cool it is. Yeah, again, gang, I'm sure there are many fan games out there, but this is really one to keep your eyes on. It's still in development, but like, it is a great game, and even if the game were to end right here, you would be blown away by just how authentic and how cool it is. I can't plug it enough. It's extremely cool. All right, next up, we've got KNIJohn. Hello, my friend, my poor friend, stuck 10 minutes in the internet. I was just
boiling away.
I love it. Just amazing stuff right there. I absolutely love to see it. John, I have to ask you two things. One, how did you get into content creation? And two, what was your first experience like with Mega Man Battle Network?
Okay, so content creation, it wasn't really anything big or important at first. My very first videos, they're long gone, don't ask me about them, were about, like, COD and stuff like that. Like, I'm a filthy casual gamer as well, in addition to my niche RPG stuff. Those are gone for a long time ago, but I just made them because I would see how much fun people would have, like, with old Let's Plays and stuff, especially back on, like, Something Awful and the Let's Play archive and everything. That just seems like a really fun thing to do with people. And then over time, I was like, well, I should edit this a little more. I should edit this a little more. I should put a little more effort into this so it seems better. And it just eventually snowballed into me spending 2 hours talking about Battle Network 6 somehow.
If I can chime in real quick, that exact effort, like, it shows tremendously. Like, for folks who don't know, John makes, like, really great YouTube videos. I mean, arguably some of the best, long play, deep, thorough reviews I've ever seen. And immaculately edited, right? Like, I think, like, as somebody who's just awful at making videos and has only been at it for, like, I guess, like, a year or so, like, I try to put the most effort in, like, the first chunk of it, like, before people would leave, and then I kind of, like, just get really lazy towards the end. But you do such a great job all throughout. It's really amazing.
Don't feel bad. I do. I don't want to say it because now people will look for it, but I do the exact same thing. all my biggest edits and big ideas are in, like, the first quarter of the video, and then near the end, things start getting a little.
Well, I can tell you, as a total, like, layman observer, I don't see that at all. I think you do such a great job. I love your storytelling. It's very fun. It's very fluid. And actually, I think I mentioned this on your Discord, but I am almost certain that my very first video I saw of you was years ago, like a Final Fantasy X retrospective. That's one of my all-time favorite games. And during the pandemic, I was just like, or I guess post-pandemic a little bit, just like looking for stuff like in that real, like trying to take down the final bosses and things that I just stumbled upon. I'm like, this is really cool. I absolutely love that.
Another person waiting for me to go back and finish it someday.
Do you think you ever will, or do you think just too many projects, like too many things happening?
It's on there. I get asked. It's probably the one I get asked about the most often to continue. It seems like the one that people liked the most. It's just people didn't like it at the time. That was even before Battle Network, so I had 1,000 subs at the time. So I was like, oh boy, this is a lot of time and work, and nobody is watching this. I'm just gonna try something else.
Wow. Yeah. Well, again, just as a total, like, layman, you do such great videos. I think really, like, your videos, they're almost like a secondary community in terms of, like, getting people excited, like teaching people about, like, what BN is. They're so thorough. They're so great. You're just amazing. So just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you very much for making awesome videos. All right. We are heading over now to MegaRockEXE. Now, the Rockman EXE Zone is really, really awesome. Of course, every community here is awesome, but, TREZ, as they call it, also a group that does amazing, amazing work. MRE, tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us a little bit about how you got into Mega Man Battle Network.
Yes, my name is MegaRock. I'm a co-founder actually of the Rockman EXE Zone. We started that up in like 06, back when Battle Network 6 was still new. And I got into the series, I think, around the Battle Network 3, Battle Network 4 kind of time. And that's just kind of just what got me hooked, and I've been on it since.
Love that.
Yeah.
Now, you do such amazing work with your graphics, with your logos. I mean, am I correct in saying that these are two that you made, and these are two that you repurposed for for these English translations?
Yes, that's correct.
Are you a graphic designer, like, by profession? Like, is that something that you've kind of been dabbling in over the years? Like, what's your story with that?
I went to school for graphic design, and that's what I do for work. So that's my profession, and I've gotten better. Especially these two logos in particular. I cringe when I see them online, the older versions, back when I was not as skilled. And I'm glad you got the right ones, because I see the old ones and it's like, oh, why? Those are ugly.
I mean, gang, if you are unfamiliar with the Rockman EXE Zone, that is like the spot. Like, back in the day, I was a GameFAQs junkie. I mean, raise your hand, or I don't know. I guess you can't raise your hand, but I would like I'm showing my age for sure. But like, GameFAQs was that for me. But nowadays, the Rockman EXE Zone, you guys have like the most thorough resources. But even more than that, like, these two games having English translations, 4.5 is an experience that most gamers. I mean, that was a Japanese-only game, right? And, the idea of like having, battleship gates like this that you could, play and insert with on your Game Boy, like, that's so novel and so cool. And you guys did such a great job making this functionality possible. Like, this wasn't just like a simple emulation. You guys really took care to like localize it in a way that feels very authentic, much like Killer with Chrono EXE. Again, Operate Star Force, like, talk about a game that many people have wanted to play. Language barriers, we're unable to, like, so cool. And then on a third level, I've been having a blast streaming Star Force Deluxe. I think that game, like, that might be my favorite single player Mega Man experience ever. Like, I love the challenge. I love everything, all the love and care that got put into it. I know you're not on the development side of it, MRE, but like, TREZ is freaking amazing. And you have to plug it. Like, they're just the absolute coolest.
Thanks. Yeah, that's really well said.
I want to add to that and say MegaRock was also responsible for the Chrono EXE logo as well.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. Look at that beautiful logo right
some
there.
Of the labels on the reproduction chips too.
Yeah, you do such great work, man. It's like all encompassing, and again, as professional as your actual profession is, like, that's just amazing. Thank you very much for adding that extra bit of authenticity to all these extremely cool projects.
Thanks.
All right, now we've got RockmanCosmo, another person I got to meet IRL, which was super cool. RockmanCosmo is the leader of a group called Scilab Secrets, and you guys basically, I mean, I think a lot of fans, maybe not a lot, a good amount of fans heard about like the arcade machines and things like that. There's kind of like a mystique to them. The cell phone games are like so niche and so cool, and you guys pulled it off. RockmanCosmo, tell us a bit about yourself. How you got into Mega Man, and then like, how did you, like, this is so cool. How did that happen?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm RockmanCosmo. I'm the leader of Scilab Secrets, which is the team that has spent, well, about the past 3 years working to preserve these lost Mega Man games that are on these Japanese feature phones from the early 2000s. So, as you all definitely know by now, in December, we preserved the entirities of Rockman.exe Phantom of Network, Legend of Network, as well as some other lost games like Rockman Dash Great Adventure on 5 Islands, which was a lost mid-quill in the Mega Man Legends series, and even weirder stuff like Mega Man Pinball. So, so for 3 years we've been working on that, and we still have more things to do, and I also do some other Japanese feature phone game preservation at large. But it's been a crazy 3 years, and so that's what I've been doing. But you also asked, how did I get into Mega Man?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a long tangent in and of itself, because like my whole gaming journey is kind of crazy, and I'll probably talk about it somewhere else. But I think I can really link the start of getting into Mega Man when I was I got a Game Boy when I was younger, Game Boy Advance, and I really like that. I like kind of diving into gaming history, things like that. So I was playing my Game Boy Advance, but like my parents told me you can't play it at night. So unfortunately, I broke that rule, and I was playing my Game Boy Advance Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga in my bed, and then I get caught. Then I get the ultimate punishment, which is having the Game Boy Advance put in a plastic bag and smashed to pieces with a hammer.
Oh my!
So yeah, So rest in peace, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga.
No,
you will be missed. And all of my consoles, everything was taken away. So all of a sudden, overnight, I had nothing. And really, all I was at the time was a Nintendo guy. So I only really knew like Mario, but I didn't even know what Mega Man was. But then I said, well, I want to still game, but what do I have? Well, all I have is the computer. So that's how I discovered the power of emulation and piracy. But so basically, like, that's how I wanted to experience these games that I lost after that Nintendo Exodus, as I called it. And then one day, I'm listening to music on YouTube, and then I get Mega Man 2, Wily 1 and 2 recommended to me. And I listen to that, and I'm like, 8-bit music can go this hard? So then I just try to find, like, how am I going to play this Mega Man game, this elusive Mega Man online? And turns out that I already like platformers from Mario. And then I just saw, like, Mega Man is kind of like that, except I can shoot now. I can jump and I can shoot. So from there, I get into the classic series, and I'm there for a bit. And then I listen to more, video game music. And then I get Boomer Kuwanger recommended to me for Mega Man X. And I hear that, and I'm like, 16-bit music can go this hard? So then, of course, I have to find Mega Man X, find an online emulator for that. And from there, I just kind of go deep into the series. And how I got into Battle Network is kind of humiliating, but I'm going on like the Mega Man wiki and I'm looking at Robot Masters, and I see like fireman.exe, and I'm like, what is this like .exe thing? Is this like a creepypasta like Sonic.exe? Like what is this? So then I go on their wiki pages. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like a whole like, what is this, like a classic alternate universe? It seems kind of cool. So then in one summer, I marathon all of Battle Network 1 to 6 and Star Force 1 to 3. I don't know how I didn't burn out, but basically from then on, Battle Network has become one of my favorite series. Like, I mean, Mega Man Legends is always probably going to be at the top for me for other reasons, but I still think that Battle Network is just the battle system, everything. It just captivated me from day one. And
that's so true. So true.
Crazy. Yeah, still unique to this day, which is really something. And again, like these cell phone games, like I honestly like. I would have bet a lot of money that we would never see them. If you had asked me years ago, will we ever? Because you guys have to like stop and think about this in the chat, right? Like these cell phone games, they're first of all they're older tech, right? You have to download them from whatever. It's like not even I guess an app store, whatever the equivalent of that would be for these Japanese cell phones. And then you have to like, which by the way, I'm sure many of them just don't produce these games anymore. That it's lost media. And then you have to like find someone who has the cell phone. Convince them to send it to you because, you need to be able to open it and data dump it. But then it's a cell phone, so it's got your contacts, it's got your photo, that it's a kind of a personal device just to, willingly, lend to somebody. So, the idea of all of these things kind of coming together is like, it's like a real life shiny Pokemon, maybe even like older, maybe even like lower odds than that. And you pulled it off like every single Mega Man game. Like that's like so cool. And many other games too, like Devil May Cry mobile game, Final Fantasy VII mobile game, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, like really cool stuff. Yeah, it's so cool. So all that to say, well done, my friend. I also got to plug Tofu here too. Tofu, I know that you had a big hand in terms of like brute forcing, the sort of like encryption keys and like figuring out the tech to like make a lot of this happen. Do you have any thoughts on that, Tofu?
I'd actually downplay myself a bit on that one. As another user who wrote a lot of the code for figuring out the keys for the games, and my computer just ran it, honestly.
Love it. Love it. That graphics card, I'm sure, got put through the ringer, man. I'm sure it was... Because, gang, I mean, without getting too complicated, it's like you have to find, like, the one... key, right? Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you have to your graphics card literally brute force like every possible combination.
I think it's some like 6.4 billion possible keys. I think was the number, something like that.
I actually think that's really funny that you guys say that because it reminds me of the time that you guys thought you barely unlocked the full games and you were like, oh yeah, we got chapter 1 working, we're on top of the schedule, we're doing great, and then it's like no, we did the whole game. And they're like, oh, oh, we're done.
So cool.
You have no idea how embarrassed I was. I was like, I mean, I was writing up that Rockman Corner blog post for like legit like 6 hours straight because I wanted to get out to the public, and I was making sure like, all right, don't let them freak out. Just only tell them it's chapters 1 to 3 and chapters 1 of Legend of Network. And all of a sudden, it turns out that, as people may know, it was like Midori, who was the one who had the phone that had the games on it. She told us, "Oh, I only bought those specific chapters." So then when we got the games, we assumed that it would just be those chapters, but it turns out that what Capcom did was load the entire like game on your phone, and they paywalled it, but there'd be like a subscription check that would like only work, you know, on the phone itself. But then that we took the raw game files out, that subscription check is no longer there, meaning that it is the full game. So it was like I just saw like, all right, it's only chapters 1 to 3, whatever, and then I see people in Rockman EXE Zone start getting to chapter 4, and then chapter 5, then chapter 6. I'm like, oh gosh, you know.
Oops, the whole game.
But it was a good thing. It was like a good story.
We did it, yeah.
I love that. Such a cool story. Again, thank you so much, you guys. Like, it's a dream come true. And also really crazy that was at the like December, like shortly after Tofu and I went to like archive the actual arcade data. It was like 2 weeks later, the cell phones. It was like, what? Like, we ended 2023 with like lost media. Like, it's absolutely phenomenal. So super cool how that kind of coincidentally timed out in such a cool way. Thank you so much, RockmanCosmo. Really cool. All right, next up is me, alphabetical order. Hello, everybody. My name is ScoutmasterDemi. I'm not wearing the Scoutmaster outfit. We're all about Mega Man today, of course. If I had to describe myself in Mega Man terms, I would say, honestly, first and foremost, I'm a collector. I love battleships. Like, that's like my bread and butter. I have a complete set. It's taken me years to acquire, but I totally do. I'm the real-life Higsby. He's my spirit animal for sure. Even have some really cool and interesting things like tournament prizes. It's kind of hard to see up here with my little screen, but I've got like holographic chips that were like, you know, won in tournaments from people way back in the day. So I'm just like a fanatic. Like, I really, really love those chips. And in fact, speaking about the Rockman EXE Zone, seeing that English 4.5 translation is kind of what kickstarted me and inspired me to like complete those sets. Like, over the years, I kind of like off and on, you know, have a little bit of interest. It would fluctuate a bit, like try to get chips here and there. But the idea of actually playing on a real English, you know, 4.5 translated copy that you could use a real life battle chip gate with on your Game Boy Advance just like totally ignited a fire in me. And I basically haven't stopped since. You know, it's like, you know, this is just such an amazing franchise with so many unique aspects, amazing artwork, amazing gameplay. I love the story. It's like, you know, the world is like kind of realistic, like kind of a utopia, like really, really cool. So I don't know. I just love Mega Man, of course. And then an organizer too. I'm not nearly as cool as the N1 Grand Prix. But I, you know, with the Legacy Collection games coming out, I'm like, you know what? Like, let's do a live tournament. Like, let's have some fun with this official hardware. Like, let's have fun. As a Higsby hoarder, I have so many battleships and things. Like, yeah, let's give away some prizes. Like, you know, free to enter. Like, let's just do it. And yeah, it's been really fun. I've been enjoying it. That little photo right there is a picture of me at like an IRL event. I'm wearing my 90s, you know, workout outfit, like kind of aesthetic, right? Like got the tracksuit and everything. And it's just been a blast for sure. So yeah, that's me. You guys are probably on YouTube. I know a lot of you are. If you're not, you know, you can take a peek and say that's, or I guess I don't know, I'll plug myself a little bit. But yeah, that was some cool stuff there. And again, I do a lot of Mega Man stuff. I really enjoy it. Lately, the thing that I've been really into is playing every single DS game that's North American, including shovelware, including all the garbage, and like slowly trying to make reviews. Honestly, like maybe even longer form ones. Like I love KNIJohn's style. Like I think like going really deep on some of these really weird, obscure niche games is like just kind of a lot of fun. And in terms of content creation, like I'm really small but super passionate. You know, to me, it's like the self-expression is just like so important. You know, just being able to kind of like have your thoughts and feelings and put them out there and like feel that validation is just like a really cool thing. So that's me. And yeah, finally, last but not least, in alphabetical order, we've got SoulXCross, wonderful member of the N1 Grand Prix. Soul, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a bit about, you know, you first getting into Mega Man Battle Network and then getting into the N1 Grand Prix.
Before I even get into that, I just wanted to thank you so much for inviting me to be here, inviting us to be here. This is like a really cool idea for a stream, and I love it. And first of all, you are plenty cool. All right, I just want to put that out there.
That's really sweet. You're gonna make me blush. That's really. I'm like a really like emotional kind of guy. So thank you. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me, man. Thank you.
No worries. But yes, I am SoulXCross. I am a caster for the N1GP primarily. I do other games as well. I've been getting my hands on Pokemon. I'm trying to get into Pokemon as well for casting. And I thought about getting back into Smash because I was doing that before COVID. I'm not sure after COVID and everything that had happened in the scene. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back, but I might give it a try. I don't know. Who knows at this point? But yeah, I got into Battle Network when I was at a basketball camp because my father was super into basketball. He was a coach for many different teams, and he loved doing community like leagues and stuff like that. So I went to one of those community leagues, and there was a kid there. He wasn't even there to play basketball. He was just a random kid there, and I saw him have this Game Boy Advance, and I was into Pokemon. That's the only game I knew. So I walked over. I'm like, dude, what are you playing? Like, you have Charizard? And he's like, no, this is Battle Network. So I was like, what's Battle Network? So he goes, oh, do you want to try playing? And I was like, yeah, like hand that over. I'm down. So he gives me the sticks, and it's like, I'm walking forward because it's Battle Network 2, and I'm fighting base. And I'm like, I don't know how to play this game. I guess I'll give it a shot. And I got destroyed. And that was my first instance of playing Battle Network 2. And
you were like, that's the coolest character ever. Like, I aspire to be him.
I was sold, bro. I was like, the cloak, the fins, bro, you got me, bro. Like, he beat me. I couldn't even touch him. He's clearly the most bad MF on this entire game. You know what I'm saying? So clearly he's the guy to beat. But cool. Yeah, that was my first experience with Battle Network. So yeah.
And how about the N1 Grand Prix? What got you into that? What got you into commentating? Like, what's your story there?
Okay, so I actually discovered the N1GP by fate, it feels like. So I always tell this story to everyone who cares to listen. And I was one day watching a random YouTube video. I think it was one of Eurasia's random YouTube videos of him playing with Midnight W.
Both
and
cool.
I was like, man, yeah, they're really great dudes. Love them both. And then I was like, man, you know, if there was ever an online scene for this game, I would totally play. And I left that as a comment in that video. And then out of nowhere, like 3 days later, a player responds to that message and says, dude, there totally is one. Like, you can play right now. And his name is The Poner. He's not even really around like that anymore. He's still on the server, but he doesn't actively like talk anymore. And every occasion I always send him a DM. He doesn't respond, but it is what it is. But because of him, I discovered the N1GP because I was not a Redditor. I didn't like Reddit. I didn't like those kinds of social media platforms like 4chan and stuff like that. I did not ever want to associate myself with those. And so if it wasn't that moment, I would have never known. So
wow.
I logged on, and of course, and this is a precautionary channel now, with my freshly studied game facts knowledge, I joined the N1GP. And was like, yeah, I know this game. I know how to beat you guys in your PvP. I studied up, and I know what's what. And I got destroyed by everybody. I lost every fight I entered, dude. And it made me realize how in-depth the PvP for this game was.
Just to chime in, it's bonkers. This is a game that's over 20. It's over 20 years. Oh, I guess almost 20 years old at this point. And no patches, right? Like no updates, no firmware, no nothing. And it's like phenomenally balanced. There's so many like crazy in-depth mechanics that they squeezed in there. It's cool to see the meta change. It's cool to see new innovations. It's cool. Like it's just actually an amazing game. It really is. And obviously we're really biased, but there's really nothing like it. And I'm an optimist. I sincerely think that we'll get a BN7 or a reboot or whatever. I think we'll probably get like a cell phone gotcha game before that, but once we get past that, once we spend our money on the base banner, I'm a firm believer. I really do think that we'll get something in the future, and I hope that whatever new game will come out will be just as fun and deep and rich as BN6. It's super super cool.
Now, for those who don't know and are watching, the N1GP basically is like an international Mega Man Battle Network 6 PvP hub. Basically, it's my second home, away from home or at home, where if you were. We run dozens of tournaments throughout the year, and we always encourage new players to come join up. And we have tons of like beginner-friendly tournaments. We provide the resources for you to get involved, 100% save files. We have Tango, which has 100% rollback netcode.
Amazing.
Just a generally very friendly community for you guys to get involved and get started. And of course, these resources are open to the public. Even if you don't want to stay within the server to play in those tournaments, you could use those resources because, again, that's kind of what I'm echoing from like RockmanCosmo and Tofu, is that we like having our open source stuff and we like people being involved. It doesn't matter how it looks like, as long as you're playing Battle Network and you're involved with this community, you're a part of the community, right? That's
honestly, looking at all the people we have down below, all of our guests and all the things they work on, like it's amazing. Like nothing is paywalled, like everything, like it's and all of you in the chat too, who are a part of this, who are listening in and tuning in, like you guys are we are the best community, honestly. Like I truly do believe that. Like small but not so big that it's toxic. Like, you know, friendly people always willing to tell you about their cool thing that's going on. Like it's really something. Just a shout out to literally every single person who's here right now. Like
absolutely.
You guys are the best. And Soul, just to give you a quick compliment too, you have the best energy. Like you are one of the funniest, like high energy. Like, dude, it's like you hype me up so bad. Like you are somebody that like, I don't know, man. I feel like I've known you for years, and it's like it's definitely not that, which is super cool, super cool.
I get that a lot, actually. I get that a lot.
friendly people, good friendly people everywhere. All right, so that is a little bit about each person. Now we're gonna move on to one of our